What up, Chicago? Chicago Sports Podcast coming to you live. Brandon Duplessis, Darius Lockhart. How we doing, guys?
All is well, man. All is
Doing
well.
good, man. Doing good. How
Good
about
to see
you?
you guys. I'm good, man. Another Monday, another night to talk sports. We just had a pretty cool weekend of sports, in my opinion. You had the first Bears preseason game with Caleb Williams starting at quarterback. And on the same day, right back to back, right there at the same time, you got the Olympic gold medal game, France and USA. I was kind of going crazy watching all of that back to back. So I definitely want to get into it. I mean, I'm sure everybody who's with us wants to get into it. We got Cliff Victoria and Ant Mass with us already. What's up, guys? Bruce Fam, as always, bear down, guys. So, we just want to get into, really how did Caleb look and what are people thinking of that? And where do we stand? I mean, it's one preseason game. It was 2 drives. We can't make
18 snaps.
Yes, correct. We're not going to take too much from it, but I felt pretty confident watching him play for the first time.
Let's address the question first, right? Has Caleb silenced the haters? Let's address that question. Darius, I'll let you Darius, Dustin, you guys start because I have a very probably non-popular answer to this question.
As you always do.
You want to go first, Justin? Go ahead, Dustin.
I mean, you can't silence haters in one preseason game, guys. I mean, and if Caleb is any good, he's going to have haters for the rest of his career, right? So, I mean, what he did do was meet expectations, I think he showed enough, creation on the fly. I think he showed enough work within the system. I think he stayed on target. He showed he's got some zip on his balls, and he read through his progressions, right? Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, Cliff says that right there. He's accurate and has a bullet for an arm. I mean, we saw that, So, if anything, he certainly didn't give us any reason to have doubts. And I got to tell you, I haven't been that excited watching a Bears quarterback in preseason in my lifetime. What about you, Darius?
I agree with you, man. Good showing, showed that he was as advertised. I'm not gonna go crazy about a quarter of football. And he could play a 10-year career. Still gonna be somebody hating on him. Pat Mahomes, believe it or not, still has haters.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yes, sir.
So we don't want to silence them though. We want them to keep coming.
Means he's doing something right.
Yeah, we don't want to silence the haters. You know what I'm saying? We want them to keep coming because the more haters we have, the better we are.
Well, as Brandon said, Caleb had 2 drives. He was 4 of 7 for 95 yards, 101.8 QB rating. He had that 13-yard scramble that was really nice. The offense produced 147 yards in those 2 drives.
Listen, man,
so that's something. That's pretty damn good.
Boxes, man. A lot of concerns we had, or a lot of things that we wondered about. He went out there and showed us in those 2, in that one quarter of play. But he's not done. He's far from a finished product.
So
it's still more.
I want to address that question. Did Caleb Williams silence the haters?
You think so?
And no, I don't think so. And I'm going to say this because why? Because I don't think the haters of Caleb Williams has anything to do with the way he plays football. I don't think that anybody watched Caleb Williams' college career and hated him because of the way he is as an athlete on the field. So after 18 snaps, even as a Bear, I don't think that's the reason that anybody hates Caleb Williams. So you're not going to silence the haters because I think the haters of Caleb Williams hate his character. And I think no matter how much he does to prove that he's not the guy people claim him to be, but I truthfully believe the majority of Caleb haters come from a Justin Fields fan crowd. That's what I believe.
You want to hear a stat on that, Brandon? Did you see this stat with the Justin Fields comparison? Caleb's time to throw the ball 3.56 seconds. Justin Fields 3.39 all of last year. Did you see that stat out there?
No, but do you guys disagree? Do you not feel that the Caleb Williams hating crew is mostly Chicago fans who backed Justin Fields? I don't think there's a whole lot of Well, I don't think there's a whole lot of like other like outside of the Bears fans. I don't think there's a lot of Caleb haters. Like I talk to a lot of guys. I have a buddy who's a Patriots fan. I have a couple of buddies who are Packers fans. Like they don't hate Caleb Williams. Caleb Williams haters come from Chicago, who were Justin Fields fans. That's where that base comes from. And I don't think it has anything to do with the way he plays football. Because if those guys actually watched Caleb Williams at Oklahoma and USC, he was a phenomenal quarterback. Like there's nothing you can hate about the way he plays football. So you just hate the individual that is Caleb Williams. So no, the haters haven't been doubted or silenced because they just hate Caleb Williams for who he is as a person, not so much for the way he plays football. And he had some phenomenal plays this preseason game on Saturday against the Bills that we haven't seen a Chicago quarterback have in 25 years, right? Like the pass to kmet on the run across his body, or the shovel pass where he didn't even look at Swift. He just kind of turned away, threw that little shovel. Like Justin Fields didn't even do those things, right? This is a guy who can do things that quarterbacks can't do. But the group that hates Caleb Williams will never be silenced because they're the group that wishes we didn't trade Justin Fields.
No, but the group that hates that will hate on Caleb Williams is going to change throughout his career. Like right now, it might be those people that are sad to see Justin Fields go. But your buddy who was a Patriots fan is going to end up hating Caleb Williams if Caleb Williams beats him in the Super Bowl. You know, like if Caleb Williams is as good as we expect.
That's a stretch. That's a stretch because you and I both love Tom Brady, Dustin. So you don't.
Yeah, but he never beat the Bears in the Super Bowl.
No, but even if he did, would you dislike him?
I would develop a level of dislike that I don't
hate
have.
Peyton Manning?
I never liked him. No, I mean that's irrelevant. I'm just saying, like guys who are good players do have people who hate on him. Peyton Manning had people knocking him down throughout his career.
The question is, where do you think the hate for Caleb Williams comes from?
Well, I would like to agree with you that there was a lot of Justin Fields fans that hate.
It became a civil war between Bears fans, right? The move on from Fields.
Yeah, but that's dying down. That's dying down. I don't see that anywhere near as much anymore.
A lot of prognosticators tried to put that stigma on him, saying that
that was beautifully said, Darius.
He can't be.
Beautifully said, bro.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I don't feel like a lot of people who love the sport of football hate Caleb Williams.
They should.
If you watch his college game, he did things we're not going to see from anybody else, right? The arm angles, the stuff like that, like the just hero ball. He's Johnny Football, if you want to use that expression. He played hero ball. He's in his preseason debut. He did that. He kind of did the things that were like, can a guy throw at that angle? Yeah.
Well, and Brandon, some of those plays that he made, they could go the other way throughout this season too. You know, like that shovel pass to Swift could have been bad if he got hit a little bit earlier or in a little different spot.
If our quarterback was anybody else, I would tell you I agree with you, but I don't.
No, it's going to happen. Some of those plays are going to turn around.
This is because listen, you know where I stand on this offensive line. I don't think they're good. I don't think they're going to be. I think we have a quarterback who's going to make something out of nothing. That's what I believe.
He's going to have to.
And if you hate this guy, you don't hate him for any other reason than let's say just you're opposing fan of USC.
Brandon, let's get the chat up on the screen, boss. Let's get these guys involved, please.
I don't know. I want to know where you guys stand on that. Is the Caleb Williams hate?
Well, you gotta let us respond. You gotta let us talk about it.
Is the Caleb Williams hate based on who he is as a football player? Is that where the hate comes from?
No. It was it was the things that he was doing that were outside of the realm of football that drew people to talk shit about him.
Painting
the whole pre-draft process. Yeah, no, we all know that. My only thing is that, you know, it couldn't be a football thing because he's played good football. Like that, it wasn't a knock on his arm strength. It wasn't a knock on his ability. Stop. Okay, but it is going to stop because that hate was coming from a faction of Bears fans that are going to move on once Caleb starts winning games. That's my point. That hate will stop because they're going to root for a guy that's.
Aunt Ma says, "Does Brandon like Rodgers?" Yes, I do. I do. I like Brett. Brett Favre is one of my favorite players that ever played football. So like, it's not about where a guy plays; it's about how he plays, right? Isn't that the whole point of the sport? Like,
well, there's also a tribalness to it, Brandon, where your tribe is doing that over there, and our tribe is doing this over here, and we're trying to beat the crap out of each other. So there is always going to be that.
right?
Darius,
Well,
don't you agree? Like that hatred does grow between these, especially a rivalry like Green Bay.
so let me ask you this.
Yeah, but
Let
I
me
don't.
ask,
I don't think that's where. I'm not really sure that's where Brandon's going.
no,
But
no, I'm not.
Go ahead, Brandon.
I want to ask you both.
Uh,
We're both Bulls fans. We're all three Bulls fans. We're all three fans of Michael Jordan. You're going to hear all this talk about whether or not LeBron James is the better player than Michael Jordan. I don't think he is. But do I hate LeBron James? No, absolutely not. Do you hate LeBron James? Either one of you?
I don't.
No, of course, no.
I don't.
I wasn't a fan of him when he was beating the Bulls in the playoffs, when on those Derrick Rose led teams, when he was on the
Yes,
Heat, or
you
when
were
he
a
was on
fan
the
of him. You were a fan of. I've known you personally for 15. You were a fan of him every goddamn day of his
I
life.
was a fan of him coming out of the league. No, but then you're making my point. You're making my point, because when they were playing my team, I was not a fan of his. I did not like the fact that he was kicking our ass. That bothered me.
LeBron James. I've never been a LeBron James fan, but I respect him as a great basketball player. But I've never been
right. And here's my question: do you think that the hate for Caleb Williams comes from being a football player?
No, I don't think it's.
You think there's a group full of Bears fans out there that hate Caleb Williams because they think he's just a bust?
No, I think they hate him for two reasons. One is his perception of being
He's
a
arrogant
guy, and
Hollywood. Yep.
About the game and this, that, and the third. And another is coming from the guys that you mentioned, Brandon, and that's the Justin Fields brigade that didn't want to see Justin leave, and they're hoping to
Caleb Williams, which is strange, dude. You're a Bears
but
fan.
That's not going to stick. That's not going to maintain in Chicago.
No, and listen, I sent you the text that said
it's already
today,
going away.
I sent you on Saturday. Today, every Fields fan just became a Caleb Williams fan, right? Because what are we all in the end? We're all fucking Bears fans, right?
That's what we've all been this whole time. Some people just got stuck on something that they shouldn't have got stuck on.
Bears fans. I mean, I know we are.
Was there ever a point where you hated Caleb Williams?
Huh?
Was there a point where you hated Caleb Williams?
Never.
And there was never a point, or should have been a point, for a Chicago Bears fan where they dogged down on Caleb Williams to bring up Justin Fields. That's just the fucking culture that we live in today. You see it with you brought up LeBron, right? The Jordan and LeBron conversation.
That did happen.
I know it did. I know it did, but that's not real fandom in my mind, and that's not real. Like, you're not really participating in the sport the right way in terms of rooting for your team.
So let's get back to the question: did Caleb silence the haters? The answer is no, because he hasn't won a game for the Bears, right? He's not won a regular season game. He's not proving to anyone that he's going to take this team to a Super Bowl or be the end all be all for this Bears team. So no, the people who love Justin Fields, no, the people who talked about Caleb painting his nails and all that nonsense, they're still who they are. They still hate Caleb Williams. I don't.
Yeah, but there were haters that changed their mind on Caleb's pro day, bro. But
people there was haters who changed their mind because
that's the way it's going.
Yeah,
once
there was. I agree.
Justin Fields didn't have a chance to stay in Chicago. They switched real quick. We saw it happen.
Yeah, so, I think those were haters who were forced to change their opinion because they had to, because they have a new quarterback. Those are Bears fans. Right? Like, this is our Bears quarterback now. We have to deal with this. We have to like this guy. We have to root for him. But the people who still advocate for Justin Fields, and they're out there, and me and you have experienced this via text, these people are still out there. They don't like Caleb Williams still to this day. Even after that preseason game, which was 18 snaps, I thought he showed a whole lot of stuff, to be honest, to Bears fans. I thought that guy did things Justin Fields will never do in his career. But those people won't be silenced until Caleb Williams takes them to a Super Bowl. I'm going to hear about guys. You're going to hear about Justin Fields till the day this season.
Every interception, every fumble, they're going to bring him up. I seen people this weekend alone trying to say that Justin Fields had a better game than Caleb Williams.
Yeah, and he fumbled twice. And this is the Justin Fields that I'm used to. This is the guy I know. And I love Justin Fields, man. Honestly, like a lot of people call me, hey, I want Justin Fields to succeed. I do. But he's a heartbreaker. Every time you believe in him, he does something like what he did on Saturday. Right? Like,
I think we saw a guy in Caleb Williams that is going to break hearts, but not ours. I think that's what we saw this past preseason game on Saturday. I think that's what we're going to continue to see. I think that any of those doubters, they're going to be coming around. Whether or not he silences all of his haters, that's a tough question to answer, and that's a tough task to accomplish because you're never gonna do it. There will always be haters.
Right,
but right now, Justin Fields is in Pittsburgh and Caleb is in Chicago, and I think we're in a much better position in Chicago than they are in Pittsburgh.
And and the question is, I'm going to ask you both this, okay? I'm going to ask you both this question. I want you both to answer. What do you think the hate is directed towards? His ability to play football or who he is as a person?
I don't think it was ever about who he was as a person. I think it was that was the only thing they could find to tear down to bring up Justin Fields at that time. That's what it was, right? Like
this
guy's weird. He paints his nails. This guy's weird. He's got a pink cell phone case.
So the hate never came from.
But you couldn't do it for his film
because nobody watched.
You couldn't do it.
Right. Nobody watched USC. Caleb Williams was like, this guy. I hate this guy. Like nobody did that. Like unless you were like an opposing USC fan, right? Nobody watched the ability Caleb Williams has and was like, I hate this guy as the Bears quarterback because he's not a good quarterback. I don't believe that there's a single person out there that hates the idea of Caleb Williams being the Bears quarterback because of his talent alone. I don't like. I read during the Justin Fields stuff. I read this guy's a bust. He's gonna bust. He paints his nails. He's not a leader. I never read a person say this guy can't throw the damn ball.
He held it too long. That was one thing they said. He took too many sacks, right? He turned that. I heard that a lot.
No, I didn't. I didn't hear that.
I did.
I heard the
that
hero
was the one
ball.
knock against him.
I heard he's gonna feel like. Sorry, go ahead, Darius.
Yes, the bad half against Notre Dame, they had a lot of BS to say about.
Oh yeah.
Which was a great game for Caleb.
Which was one of his better games, just in terms of
games in his college career.
He just had a bad half.
Yep.
He had a bad half of football.
And not even that. Really, his offensive line was atrocious, and he was learning how to get rid of the ball, right? Like,
guys, real quick. Brandon, can you get the sponsors across the bottom, please, my man? The sponsors. Yeah. I want to shout out Bridges Scoreboard, guys. They're a great place in Griffith, Indiana, run by two brothers. Today, we got news from Tracks that one of the brothers, Jeff Bridges, had passed away suddenly without really notice. So that's very sad. We want to send our prayers from Chicago Sports Podcast to everybody over at Bridges and the family. And we want you guys, if you're watching, send your prayers, send your thoughts, whatever you send, however you do it. But sad news today about that. And something that affects us because they're a sponsor of ours, and I've been to that place and met those gentlemen, and they're nice gentlemen, so they're dealing with a lot right now. So if everybody can just send some prayers their way, that'd be great. They're a great sponsor.
Prayers up. My condolences.
Yes. So Caleb Williams played very well. Mm-hmm. I don't think anybody's disputing that. I think the offense looked as good as we could have expected it to look in that in that situation. 2 drives in a preseason game on the road. I mean, I want to know kind of what stood out to you, who stood out to you, Darius, in that game besides Caleb, because I think Caleb, like I said, I think he did what I expected him to do. What I foresaw him doing. I mean, the completion percentage could have been better, but he got a lot out of those passes, So what else stood out to you? Could be offense, could be defense. Who stood out to you in that game, Darius?
I was a little upset that we didn't finish drives, man, that we had to settle for field goals. But listen, man, we kind of got to give a little props because we've been hard on them guys up front, man. The offensive line didn't do a terrible job, man. They were pretty good. I mean, not saying that they were the hogs that the DC Redskins had back in the day, but they were decent. For for a full full quarter, that's
Well,
and not to be full staff, the O line was all right.
Teven Jenkins was a beast. Teven Jenkins was mauling whoever was across from him, and again, that's what I would expect from him. He had a 90.3 PFF grade, one of the highest rated of the Bears in that game. He definitely stood out to me as a road grader, as he always does. Top 3 guard in the league if he's healthy. Brandon, I know you got thoughts on the offensive line. Listen, what Darius thinks they perform pretty admirably. Where are you at?
I also want to mention in regards to Caleb Williams' completion percentage, 2 of the 3 incompletions were dropped.
Yes, sir.
Like Cole Kmet dropped a pass in his hands, and DJ Moore dropped a pass, which he was contended on. He was contested.
Cole Kmet actually made a hell of a pass too, and DJ Moore made a hell of a catch as well. Both of them. So yeah, DJ Moore had that one and let it go out from underneath him.
Kmet dropped a pass in the flat.
Yeah.
He just dropped it. He just flat dropped it. Yeah, but he also made a hell of a catch. That's all I'm saying.
Caleb should have probably been 6 for 7. But the offensive line, guys, is exactly what I expected of it. I think the tackles played really well. I think Darnell Wright and Braxton Jones played well. I think Jenkins played well, but clearly struggled to pick up the slack next to him. I don't think the interior offensive line played well at all. I think Shane Waldron learned pretty quick that he had to move the pocket in order for guys to succeed. Like you saw Caleb flush almost immediately. It was never, for the first 4 or 5 draws, it was like sit in the pocket and wait. And then after that, it was kind of like, all right, we got to move this thing or we're not going to live another day. So the interior offensive line disappointed me. And the pass rush disappointed me. I know Sweat was missing, but the trenches of this Bears team are still a major concern to me after Saturday. They really are. Yes.
Let's consider this, Brandon. Let's consider this, that 2 out of the 5 starting offensive linemen that are projected to start for this team did not start. Matt Pryor started for Nate Davis. Ryan Bates was also out, and Coleman Shelton started in place of him. I thought they performed pretty admirably considering that. Against the pass rush, Trax points out they allowed 0 sacks, but they also allowed a good amount of pressure. So in pass protection, I thought there were some things they could have done better.
Caleb got hit really hard twice.
One of those hits that he took real hard was a late hit in my mind. The one that he overthrew Odunze in the end zone.
He got hit hard on that play.
Yeah, that was a late hit. That should have been a flag from my perspective. That was an illegal hit, the way the NFL calls it these days. But I mean, he had the Bears are going to be moving the pocket a lot. But I'm just going to say that the offensive line in the run game looked great. Braxton Jones, y'all saw Braxton Jones pull out.
He's one of the best.
When Khalil Herbert had his biggest run of the game, Braxton Jones was out there in front of him looking like he was a running back. He was hauling ass.
I've said this for months.
On somebody.
I've said this for months. That guy gets to the second level in a run play quicker than any tackle I've ever seen. Like that's why I believe the Bears believe in him. Is his ability to block for the run is uncanny. It's. I think Braxton Jones is ahead of Darnell Wright on the run game. I really believe that.
Darnell Wright's a better pass protector, probably.
He is absolutely.
Yeah. So I mean, but
tackles played well.
Let's just keep in mind that we started a guy at right guard who we signed as a backup left tackle in this offseason in that game. So we gotta account for that too in terms of how you're
also projecting the ability. You're projecting the idea that Nate Davis will be the guy that you expect.
I don't think Nate Davis will be the guy. I think it's good that Matt Pryor got it. But if Bates is in there, then Bates moves to that right guard spot, and then Shelton becomes your starting center.
Yeah, and I thought Shelton was bad, but you can overcome one.
Shelton was better than I expected him to be honest. He held his own. He never any issues with the snaps, and I mean he kept the
no snap issues. But Dustin, rewatch that game. No, he didn't.
I've already rewatched it 3 times.
He got bull rushed. He got bull rushed. He got put on his ass.
The first week.
One.
Like I
What's
said,
up, Darius?
It's just the first week. We're not saying that they the 93 Cowboys, you know what I mean?
Yeah, there's no Larry Allen out there.
Can I ask you guys a question? Can I ask you guys a question? I've been dying to ask this. We've been on this
Brandon
podcast.
is on it tonight. Let's get it.
Darius, Dustin, we've been on this podcast for weeks together, and I love you too. Darius, I'm more than happy to work with you. Dustin, I've known you for how many years? Where does the optimism come from in this line being better?
Well, it was the whole.
No. And let's please, one thing. Don't mention Caleb Williams' ability.
No.
I want to know just the 5 players themselves. Where does the optimism come from for this line to be a top 12 unit in the NFL? I want to know that.
Well, the first thing that we have to have is we have to have the 5 projected starters in the lineup. That's first thing first, okay?
But 5 was last year, minus 1 guy.
Well, I'm just speaking like when I gave kudos to the offensive line, that was strictly for this week because we've been on them guys pretty hard, man, and they weren't as bad as we talked about. You know what I'm saying? Like for me anyway, like to be the first week getting out there on the grass, going against someone else outside of the people that you're familiar with. For me, it wasn't a bad week, for them, because not only us, a lot of people on the outside have been talking bad about the O-line as well. Now they may not be top 11, top 12, top 10, but we can get away for this season. We probably can get away with murder with a top 15 line.
Okay, but let me ask you this. Hold on. Let me ask you this. They were the 31st unit in the league last year.
Okay.
31st. They replaced 1 position out of 5. And the guy they replaced was a guard primarily, not center. What I want to know is why Bears fans think this unit is going to be top 12.
I'm trying to answer that question for you
let me say, okay, first of all, they were 31st. You can't get no worse than that, right? Okay.
That's not
secondly, you saying that we were missing only one guy. One guy's missing from the unit last year, but it was a lot of guys in and out of that lineup, with different type of injuries all year long.
Aren't you feeling like this is going to happen that way this year? You're not already feeling like this is going to be a thing?
I don't think it's going to be a thing. I would hope not anyway. Like I said, I'm always praying, that the injury bug stays away from our team, regardless of the position. You know what I mean? But I just think, for week 1 of, our projected starters to be out there on the field, this was a decent game for them.
Brandon, you can't answer this question without mentioning Caleb. You can't answer this question without really thinking about the fact that you got Darnell Wright in his 2nd season, Braxton Jones in a make-or-break contract year, and Teven Jenkins in a make-or-break contract year. I know Jones has still got 1 more year, but if he don't perform this year, the Bears are taking his replacement. Let me finish what I'm saying, bro, please, because you asked the question.
Go ahead.
And then you're not letting me answer it. Go ahead. Right? So Braxton Jones needs to take a big step forward. Darnell Wright needs to take a big step forward, and Teven Jenkins needs to stay healthy all year. If those 3 guys do that, then 3 out of your 5 guys are going to be studs. Now, again, this is not what I'm projecting, but if you're asking the question on where the optimism can come from, it's going to be from those 3 positions and the fact that you brought back 4 or 5 starters from last year's offensive line. Just because it was bad last year with a bad quarterback behind it that took too many unnecessary sacks does not mean that it's going to be the same this year with a smarter quarterback behind it that's going to get rid of the ball, that's going to move outside the pocket with the intention to pass and not just run into another player on the other team. So, I mean, those are the reasons why. I'm not saying that that's what will happen. I've been saying this entire time, 15 to 20 gets it done with this offense, I think. 15 to 20, not top 10, not number 12. I don't those are arbitrary numbers anyways. But if they're a middling offensive line, then they can get it done. They can get those 9 wins that I see Bearsky talking and Ant-Man's talking about over here. Now, that's the optimism comes from those 3 players in my mind because they're going to be the bedrocks of your offensive line.
So
does that answer your question, though? Or are you still?
No, not really. Because we're talking about professional analysis. Okay. I have seen the Bears projected anywhere from 11-14 by almost every
But that's
professional.
not where we're projecting them, Brandon.
Right.
That's not what we're saying.
But why do you think a team goes from 31st to 11th in
It's
ranking?
a big part of it is the
Well,
offensive
again,
weapons they
Brandon.
added and the fact that
Again,
Caleb's
Brandon.
on this team.
Again, Brandon. Each guy on that offensive line missed some time. You know, and if you're not
And the OC, yes, no doubt.
If everyone is not able to play together and establish some kind of cohesiveness, you're gonna have that. You're gonna have a bunch of inconsistencies. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know,
Darius, I agree with you. That's another reason that I don't feel. Listen, I keep getting called a hater and negative Nancy, whatever you want to call me.
No one's calling you a hater, but you're asking the question.
No, not you two. Not you two. I've been called this in private conversations. I've been called this because I have concern about the Bears' trenches on both sides of the football, right? And I think I was the only person to say to anybody for the first two drives that the Bears played defense without Montez Sweat, they were terrible in the pass rush. I don't think that's arguable. They were terrible. Josh Allen didn't get touched. He had one hit, one QB hit.
Okay, so what we were talking about, we just talked about the offensive line. Darius said that stood out to him. Brandon, when you're talking, man, pull the chat off your face, man. I can't see you. You can pull the chat when we're talking, and then pull it off.
The chat, though,
man. But I mean, we were talking about what stood out to us in preseason because we talked about Caleb. Now we talked about the offensive line, right? But like, in from your perspective, Brandon, what do you think stood out, or who do you think stood out the most to you from this preseason game besides Caleb?
Braxton Jones.
Braxton Jones? Okay.
Well,
we were just talking about him. So then there's some optimism there.
DeAndre Swift stood out to me. Are you talking about the offensive line or just players in general?
I'm talking about the game in general, the players, game, whatever.
Austin Booker was the biggest. Austin Booker was the biggest sensation.
Austin Booker is an athletic freak. I fucking watched his plays
was
over
the biggest positive I saw.
Yeah.
Outside of Caleb Williams, Austin Booker was the biggest thing I saw that makes me believe that something will change, right? And I said to you guys in this text,
we could have a decent pass rush, yeah.
Right. I said this in a text earlier. This is the best I felt about the pass rush in the offseason after that preseason game because of Austin Booker. The offensive line, I have never felt worse. Honest to God, I've never felt worse.
All right, but let's get off the offensive line for a second because here's the thing. We all know, I think, that the offensive line is going to potentially be the detriment
like 17th ranked in the league. And I said this
but that could be the detriment to this offense with a rookie quarterback. We all know that. I feel like we kind of addressed that. I think we have both sides of it. I believe if they're middling, it can be enough with a quarterback like Caleb. But you're talking about Austin Booker, and I want to talk about the fact.
But Dustin, you're ignoring the fact that on this podcast we've had multiple parties, whether it be Trax or Sean, multiple people have said this is like a top 12 unit. It's not.
Okay, we'll agree to disagree on that.
Hey, Brandon, look.
They could end up being, but we got to, I mean, there's no point we're going to make right now that's going to change that. It's week one of the preseason.
Check it out, Brandon.
20th unit.
If they're 20, it's still better than 31.
That's improvement.
I mean, because like, at the end of the day, like I told you before, we'll never call you a negative Nancy or anything like that because
I'm a realist. I don't.
We have a responsibility to the people to tell the truth, and sometimes the truth is not.
Though, Darius, do you believe there's a possibility that the only thing that derails this season, because this is the thing that scares me most, and a lot of people talk about eberflus. I actually have some faith in eberflus, right?
Mm-hmm.
The thing that scares me the most about this season is Caleb Williams getting injured behind this fucking offensive line. That's what scares me the most.
Before Caleb gets injured, I'm worried about the old lineman getting injured.
Well, if the old lineman get injured, then that's the domino effect.
You know, it's the domino effect, and I know
and that affects our offense.
I know, Brandon, you don't want to mention the Caleb Williams effect, but he's a part of it when it comes down to that O line, and so is our offensive coordinator.
No, Darius, you're right. Darius, let me say this: you have preached this for weeks on this. So all the listeners out there, all you chatters, Darius has preached this for weeks. So has Dustin. That Caleb Williams make this offensive line better, and he did already. Am I wrong?
In that game, he
not only him.
multiple
No,
times.
He
There was
Shane
pressure.
Waldron as well.
he should have been killed in that game
He
once or
maneuvered
twice.
in the pocket very well.
Yeah.
He got outside of the
And he
pocket
got
very
out.
well.
He got
Yeah.
out. He did.
I mean,
Serious, you're right.
So
The
that
guy-
should give us some faith, I think, in terms of Caleb staying healthy, because he might just be smart enough to keep himself healthy.
but
You know
Shane
what I'm
Waldron
saying?
as well. Shane Waldron is a piece of this
Shane,
puzzle as
he's
well.
going to call a lot of play action.
You know-
he's going to call a lot of boots. You know, that's going to get Caleb moving on the run, throwing the ball, and
Yeah,
that's
I
going to
mean-
help the offensive line.
It's hard to, you know what I'm saying, measure the success of the O-line without mentioning the coordinator and the QB. Because it makes so much of a difference, man.
But you know, but guys, like last Monday, we did a whole show on the offensive line. So
Yeah.
I'm just, and because it is the biggest concern to us. Trax hit me up and said, "What do we want to talk about this Monday?" I was like, "We got to talk about this offensive line. 3 out of the 5 starters not playing in our practice, and our offense looking like shit." And that's what we did. And
But
then
it goes to the point, though.
but a lot of that stuff came to fruition, right? Because
Yeah.
you know, we had Bates out, we had Davis out, and we had guys that had to step in. But those guys did perform admirably, Brandon.
Yeah,
you
they
can't take
absolutely
that. You
did.
can't take that from them either, because they kept the quarterback clean for the
And
most
let's
part.
hope they build on it.
Yeah, and then next week, hopefully, it's a little better. And that's the only thing we can do as fans is approach it that way, because we knew this was coming, Brandon. We just talked about it last week.
That's not the only way we can approach it. We can approach
This
it like
this is a young group, man.
But we're not going to
This is a young
change what
group.
the offensive line is, bro.
we can
All
approach
we can do
it
is watch
as
the game.
analysts, and we know this offensive line is probably 18th to 20th in the league. We know that.
We just covered this last week, Brandon. We did a whole show on it. We knew this was coming. So yes, I agree with you.
Yeah, but Dustin, I could quote you on a podcast stating that I could quote you saying, I've seen them ranked 11th. Like, it doesn't matter what they're ranked. They're not good
What
enough.
matters is if they keep Caleb clean enough to complete the football.
Do you believe that will
Which
happen?
they did on Saturday for the most part.
We just talk about this week, Brandon. That's it. We're hoping to build on it this
Hopefully
you
it's
guys-
better next week,
Do
man.
you guys believe that this Bears offensive line is capable of holding a pocket without moving?
I think so.
Like, he stands in the same spot and steps up.
The pass protection left something to be desired in this last game.
Well, we had
the run blocking
guys
was
missing,
much
man.
better. I enjoyed the run blocking a lot when they got to get
The run blocking was great.
Yes.
Great.
Yes.
DeAndre Swift had a great game. But do you trust this offensive line will leave Caleb Williams the ability to stand in the pocket and step up to make a throw? Do you believe that all?
This week is another.
Not on every play, man. No
man.
quarterback has that on every play.
Listen, man. Only thing we can do is be patient with this, man. I mean, because that's what Poles and Cunningham are doing.
How would you guys feel if Jared Goff was our quarterback?
Joe Burrow made a Super Bowl as the most sacked quarterback. Bearsky film. Rodgers won a Super Bowl being the most sacked quarterback. Like, there are ways to work around it. Is the point. We can't have the perfect offensive line and the perfect quarterback and the perfect set of receivers. You're not going to have all of that in one season. That's very rare. You work around some of you. You're going to have some deficiencies.
Right, but we're not talking about the Bears projection. We're talking about where this offensive line projects in the season, and they're ranked by every source between 11 and 14. And I will bet you both fucking money right now that's not what happened. I'll bet you both right now.
We just have to wait and see, man.
Not what happened.
Wait and see thing, man. This is wait and see thing. Like,
you think they jumped from 31st to 11th because they switched one guy who used to be a guard?
Well, like I said, man.
No,
it was other guys that were missing, throughout the year. You know what I mean? Like Braxton Jones missed a lot of time last year.
No, he didn't.
It's not just the one guy. They had guys.
No time.
But he played injured. He did not miss time, but he did.
No,
play
he didn't
injured.
miss. I'm sorry, but he did play
injured.
injured.
Yeah.
Brandon, Davis.
The pass rush is a concerning thing.
Let's talk about the defensive line.
The pass rush is a concerning thing for me too. And you brought up Austin Booker, and I just want to say that in the second quarter, this dude went to fake a pass rush and drop back into coverage 15 yards deep in about 2 seconds. And I rewatched that like 7 times. I just kept rewinding it and watching it.
In the second quarter, fuck the second quarter. The guy in the second half was in the backfield about every play.
I'm just saying the things that this guy is capable of doing gives me a lot more. I've been saying before the Bears even drafted him, I wanted the Bears to draft him. He was my sleeper defensive end pick in this draft. I was on him, and I'm so happy they got him because he showed it. Like, this guy was on the weak side of a play, worked his way down the line, and ran and chased down a ball carrier on the opposite end of the
I'm
field.
starting to believe Austin Booker
He's got
not
freakish athletic ability.
He's not a project. He's a
No,
guy.
he's going to be a very integral part of this pass rush as a rotation.
Austin Booker sold me on Saturday. That guy sold the fuck out of me.
And you know who else stood out? You know who else stood out with this pass rush, Brandon? Daniel Hardy. Daniel Hardy, Darius, was in the backfield constantly. I counted like 5 times. He was
decent in the Hall of Fame game, though. He was decent in the Hall of Fame game.
He was better than decent in this game. He was all over. He was all over that quarterback. Booker and Hardy made it a point to meet at the quarterback multiple times in that game. They were having a party over there.
I want to ask you.
That made me feel good.
Both sides of the trenches, what did you like about Saturday's game? What did you like from both sides of the trenches on Saturday's game?
Well, before I answer, I've always been the guy that said, instead of bringing Connor Williams in, give us another pass rusher. But what I like from the trenches in the game last week, like I said, they kept Caleb clean for the most part. They were very strong in the running game, very physical.
Yes, they were.
As far as the O-line, the D-line,
there was no sweat. You got to.
Pickens looked good. Pickens looked good. Pickens got pushed.
Pickens was good.
Pickens looked good.
Got bullied a little bit. Right?
The run defense was pretty good too. I got to give those guys credit for the run game was pretty. The run defense was pretty good in the trenches.
Yeah, they limited Buffalo. I mean, listen, we're talking preseason,
because this is what Buffalo's going to try to do throughout the year. They're going to try to establish the run to take some of the pressure off of Allen. But we did a great job. We did a very good job against the run. I think we still, we left a little bit to be desired as far as the pass rush against Josh Allen in the first group. But Josh is a mobile guy, so it's kind of it's a little harder to get to him.
Well, Mitch is a mobile guy too.
Yeah, but he ain't
Josh Allen, that's for sure. But when you got your second string defensive ends plowing through their tackles and getting to the quarterback, that was really encouraging to me.
Let me ask you both this: what was your biggest concern after Saturday?
O-line. Well, you said before the game?
After watching
the game.
I have one player in mind, and it's going to consistently bother me until I see some more, man.
You're going to talk about Gervon Dexter, right?
He did not.
Gervon Dexter
still raising up, man.
Gervon Dexter is 6'6", and this guy cannot help but stand up out of his stance.
No,
it was his issue coming out of Florida. He stands straight up. Guys get right into his pads. Let me say one thing, Brandon, though, that I saw that could be encouraging. Eric Washington is running a lot of stunts with those defensive linemen. And there was one stunt where he got Dexter all the way around his guy. He went about 3 yards deep backwards and then ran straight into the center and pushed him right back into the quarterback. He's got a head of steam. When he's got a head of steam, he can blow somebody up. So those stunts that Washington's going to run, those are going to help Dexter for sure.
I'm curious how he would play on the outside.
Yeah, I really would like to see it. Yeah, that was in my notes. He might just be too tall to play defensive tackle in the NFL.
He doesn't. You're right, Dustin. He doesn't get low. He
stands straight up.
He raises up every time too.
He got bullied for most.
That is killing it. That's right.
I watched him. Listen, when I watched that Bears preseason game, when the defense was on the field, the only guy I watched was Gervon Dexter. I'm honest to God, I watched Gervon Dexter from start to finish. He got bullied a lot, and I thought to myself, maybe this guy is your answer on the end. Like, maybe that's a possibility.
Why not? I would love to see him get some reps at the defensive end position. And you know what?
Former basketball player. So
he's a 330-pounder that can push through anybody, right? Like,
yeah.
Like I don't know, man.
It's just that weight that's tough when you don't have enough speed on the edge. I would love to see him get some reps there. I would love to see them kick Booker inside, which they did a little bit in that game too. I mean, Dexter being on the outside could make some changes because then you're not having to worry about going straight into someone. You can try to bend around them. But like, if he might not be equipped to do that either, you know. But I would like to see it. I would like to see it. But again, those stunts that Eric Washington is going to run with this defensive line are going to be specifically to help Dexter get pressure. That's what it's looking like to me. That stood out to me a lot.
All right, guys, I'm way behind on the chat.
Yeah, you got to keep up with this, man. These guys are moving, man. Bearski's typing fast.
AC Adams says, am more worried about Pickens than Dexter. Pickens looks good.
Yeah,
I like him, man.
Pickens got consistent push. Pickens, he got good leverage against his guys.
Pickens is not what people think he is. Pickens is not a pass rusher. He's Billings' backup. That's what he is.
Billings looked great.
He's stout, man. He's stout.
Billings is a people eater, man. Billings is a people.
Film says, yeah, but Brandon, all you got to do is play one game as D lineman, DT, a 4-3 is key position. Dexter belongs in the middle.
He just got to work on his technique, man.
That's where he's going to play.
Guys, he's getting beat up. He's getting bullied. I don't know. Like, listen, I'm a Bears fan, the same as everybody else. I want Dexter to be the guy, but from what I've seen so far, he's not the fucking guy. He's not. He's getting beat up. He's getting bullied. He's getting pushed around. And I think if you put him on the end of the line, he might not get, because those guys are meant to stand up, right? Those guys are meant to
not
power
necessarily. No, I mean it's still a leverage game, and it's about outside leverage more.
Montez Sweat is a stand-up. He's a stand-up guy. He plays stand-up.
He can stand up, but then this defense is putting his hand in the dirt.
Sometimes.
No, he's a power guy, dude. He's a power guy. He pushes through people. He stands up. He pushes through people. He does.
But again, man, this is guys' first week of action, man. I'm going to be patient. I'm not going to kill him. You know,
I still have high hopes for Dexter, and I think Eric Washington is going to put him in position to succeed.
Let me ask you guys this, okay? The Bears have a good quarterback, I believe. We believe, right?
Yeah.
They have a great wide receiver core. They have good tight ends. They have a great running back core. After Saturday, the running back, their run game is. If you're viewers out there, if you're playing fantasy, DeAndre Swift is going to be a monster in fantasy. I can tell you that right now. But they have a good secondary, good linebackers. Where is your biggest concern for the Bears?
It's on the offensive and defensive lines, man. That's what it's been this whole time.
I mean, but no team is going to have everything. Man.
Exactly.
Which do you worry more about? Dude, before this preseason started, I was more worried about the defensive line. After watching Booker play, I'm more worried about the offensive line.
Booker is going to be good for this team this year. He's going to have like a Mark Anderson type effect, I think. That's for sure. So, I mean, I agree with you. But, you know, those are the two most important things in the game is keeping your quarterback clean and getting after the other quarterback. So, like, those are two things that one of those things we have to be really good at in order to win enough games to make the play.
Let me ask to the viewers. Guys, Bearski, Cliff, Ant Moss, there's a lot of guys in here. Thanks for joining us.
Bearski says center, guard, defensive end. Not sure if in that order. So, I mean, they're kind of in agreement with us, right?
I'm still leaning defense, man. I'm still leaning defense, man.
As your biggest worry? Defense?
Yeah. The defensive ends.
Guys, can I tell you a big worry of mine that I don't know that is being talked about enough? I don't know if the Bears have a consistently dependable kick returner on this roster. You know, Velus Jones muffed the kick. Who was it? Carter who let the one just drop down and
Carter's not going to make the roster.
I mean, but who's going to be our kick returner for this team? Like this is going to cost us in games. This is going to cost us field position. Like who do you want to return kicks for this team? I don't want Velus Jones back there.
Ian Wheeler.
It's gonna be some guys cut too from other teams, man. Like this thing has a whole.
Ian Wheeler hasn't gotten a return yet. That guy had a 97% rating from collegiate football. a 97%.
I honestly just want someone to be
highest in college football.
I just want ball control, man. I just want us to not lose field position because we can't handle the kickoff.
Odunze can take punt returns. I believe that.
Yeah, the punt stuff I'm not as concerned about. The kickoff return though is like with all these new rules, and I'm still trying to get familiar with them, and I still think this new kickoff sucks balls, guys. I mean, I watched another game, still hate it. Can't look at it. But I mean, I don't see who we can count on in that kick returner spot right now. And
Aunt Ma says Wheeler.
Man, it's gonna be some guys cut from other teams, man. You know, like this thing is not a fully built machine just yet, man. I think it's still some room. You know, it's still gonna be some guys for whatever reason, money or just giving them a
Well, we did that with Taylor last year, and that didn't work out very well.
Well, yeah,
I didn't. While we're on special teams, guys, what did you feel about the kicker from the land down under?
I think it's hard to.
I think he's a stud.
He is, but it's hard to pin a team deep if you can't cover a punt. One of his first punt, you know, he pinned it right where it needed to go, and then we
they ran it back to the 30. Yeah.
We gotta have some gunners that are gonna get that.
Punt on the 11. He punted to the 11-yard line, and they ran it back to the 30. Yeah. And I love Richard Hightower. Like the guy who runs the special teams on the Bears is one of the best coaches in the NFL. I truthfully believe the dude is a stud, but like something's not working. And Dustin, when it comes to kick return, I think Ian Wheeler will take that job.
I really just want somebody who we can depend on. I don't need him to be a splashy guy. This new kick return doesn't seem like it's going to produce a lot of that, but I just want someone who's going to be dependable with the ball in their hands, not lose the ball.
That's what Taylor was last year. He even made some, but the decision making to not field the ball, to not field the kick in some situations. I just feel like it's still a concern for this team.
Can I ask you guys what you felt about Kevin Byard?
We got Buck in here.
Byard, you know, I don't think he was out there long enough to really give a grade for me.
Fuck off.
Yeah, I didn't really see much from Byard. I mean, the biggest defensive back that stood out to me was Jaylon Jones. Jaylon Jones seemed to be all over the place every time he was on the field.
He's playing well. He got beat a couple of times.
That's our fourth or fifth cornerback. That guy, he also had a really good pass defense on a pass route that was about 15 yards down the field.
Yeah, Keon Coleman beat him in the end zone, and Trubisky just couldn't get in there. But
yeah, and Keon Coleman beat us on one where we got rubbed off of it too. So I mean, that's gonna happen. But I just thought Jaylon Jones stood out in a positive way. He was one of the guys I put in my notes. And honestly, we were talking about the pass rush, and I want to make sure we mention this guy. Dominique Robinson looked good. Dominique Robinson looked good too, Brandon. He looks better this year than he did last year. He looks more comfortable. He's looking athletic too. There was one play where he got into the backfield and jumped up to try to knock down a pass. He missed it, but I mean, he's going to get those this year.
He also stopped the run on a fourth down.
Yeah, and he was held a couple times. Again, I counted multiple holds between Daniel Hardy and Dominique Robinson. They were held multiple times when they got into the backfield. But Dominique Robinson looked really good to me too. He had some good counter moves on his pass rush that he did not have last year. He seems to have improved his game and his technique. So I want to make sure we mention him because I'm feeling good about him too.
And guys, talk and change next week. You know what I'm saying? Next week we could be talking about a whole nother crew of players. You know what I'm saying? A whole different position.
Come on, Bearsky.
You know what I mean?
We're not coming to the end. Bearsky, we're not coming to the end. We're just getting started.
Brandon's on one tonight. We got 2 more hours. Sorry, Derek.
I think but to be honest, guys, and I sound like a piece of shit, but I was very happy with Saturday. I was because Caleb Williams led 2 scoring drives against a really good defense, right? Yeah. He did, and They didn't even let him throw really in the red zone. Out of eight plays in the red zone, he only threw twice. So
yeah, and I mean, there was that 3rd and 1 where they ran it, and the Bills were clearly selling out against the run. And my only thought on that,
he should have changed it.
my only thought on that is I want Caleb to have the freedom to make the change on that call. Yeah. I want him to be.
We don't know. We don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. Who knows?
Maybe he. I mean, maybe he didn't see it. I mean, but I feel like it was pretty obvious to me watching it from
swallowed up there.
It was pretty obvious to me watching it from over here.
Let's talk about that. Let's talk about Khalil Herbert, because I thought this guy was like maybe on the fence of making the roster, and
I never thought that.
Roshan was inactive, right? So we weren't going to see Roshan, but Khalil played a lot.
And he played well. He ran hard.
A lot more than Swift, right? He played a lot of football.
Swift, I think, had 2 snaps. I think Swift took two snaps the whole game. They're trying to keep.
No, it was more than that.
I don't think so. It was 2 or 3 snaps. That was all he had in that game total. So he wasn't on the field very much. So
I've been a Khalil Herbert guy, man. Like I've been the guy to say if the Bears get rid of him, they'll be making a mistake.
You have been saying that, Darius, and I feel the same way. You can't have enough running backs in this league. You know, guys get hurt.
To be honest,
see it every year.
Khalil Herbert continues to impress me. He
runs hard. He runs basically straight ahead, but he runs hard. He's not very fast, not a lot of breakaway speed, but he's a dependable runner for the most part. That's going to get you the 4 yards on each run if the blocking is right.
He definitely has a burst. He has a burst. I mean, he may not be, a speedster, but they said the same thing about David Montgomery too. But Khalil Herbert definitely has a burst. And
it's just not breakaway speed, not game-changing speed in any kind of way.
Give me 10 yards. We'll try again next time.
Cliff says in Hall of Fame game, Herbert looks special compared to the subs. No, Herbert does look – Herbert, honestly, to me, looks the same as the guy he's been, which is like a 4-yard average. He looks like he's going to make an impact on this Bears team. Now, I do believe Roschon Johnson has a place in pass protection. I think that, like, the one thing that I did see Herbert, there's a couple of plays where he had to pass protect, and he got run over. And that just hasn't changed from the year he's been drafted.
And the other thing,
this guy gets run over.
Travis Homer was the 3rd down running back. Travis Homer was basically the 3rd down running back for those series. Bearski, where are you at with our running backs?
How are you guys? Thanks for having me on. I'm sorry. I don't mean to like weasel my way in here. Or
no,
anything,
it's good. You're welcome.
I felt like I was kind of typing a lot in chat. So, I'd rather just come on and talk a little bit. Where am I at with the running backs? I think Herbert's issue is more off the field than on the field. I think it's more situational. I mean, at the end of the day, you're going to have to pay this kid soon, right? So listen, where he's at and what he's given us is great. Let's do it for another year, but then I'm moving on from him. I'm not about to pay a running back because, like, as impressive as it is, even with David Montgomery, like, okay, these guys fall off a cliff, man. It's a dime a dozen.
Well, how do you feel about Herbert as a pass blocker?
Terrible. That's his worst part of his game. He makes the offense very easy to he takes a dimension away from the offense when he does that, right? So that's the thing about Roschon Johnson that I like is like when I put highlights together and tape together, Roschon can block pretty damn well too. Like he's probably a better blocker than a runner at some points, and that's good because when he's out there, like I said, the defense doesn't necessarily know what's coming. When Herbert's out there,
so does Ian Wheeler? Is Ian Wheeler earn a position as a running back on this team?
Sure, him or the next guy or the guy after that. A dime a dozen, man. I could care less about running backs. Fresh legs are always my thing. It's like, dude, for that position where it's at in the NFL, I just don't want to pay the guy. I think Herbert can still help us produce throughout the year. I think he's still worth keeping throughout the year. But let's not like fool ourselves into thinking he's something special or something that we're gonna pay.
When Roschon comes back in, guys, I mean, Homer was Waldron's guy in Seattle, wasn't he? Was he not? You know, like that third down running back spot might go to Homer just
But
based on Waldron's comfort
he was a
level.
returner, wasn't he? Wasn't he a special teams returner?
No, he's a really good. No, he's a really good special teams coverage guy.
And
He's
he also got
He's
into
phenomenal
the
in
backfield for that Seattle team, and he got into it on in this past game, you know, in important drives. He was the predominant third down running back.
Guys, we got
Waldron seems to have a comfort level with him.
We got over 80 in the chat right now. Cliff says Roshan can block and run. I love it. We'll see.
That's moving the fullback.
Okay, what about the
you just said it. No, he just said it. The fullback. There's my concern, man. Like, I haven't seen the fullback yet. Like, why is that even a roster spot?
He played a lot.
He was in there.
He was in there on.
Okay, my bad. I didn't go in depth. I just did the first quarter. But okay.
Paul, they're playing. I'm going to tell you this, guys, right now. You heard it here first, everybody. Blazing Game is not getting cut.
No.
Okay. No, that's fair. That's fair.
Big piece.
I still don't think that he's going to be listen, like I said, DeAndre Swift played 2 snaps, Brandon. so when you have DeAndre, that's the guy, and you were talking about not paying running backs, but they just paid DeAndre Swift, Bearski. So when he's on the field, I don't know that Blossom game is going to be as big of a focal point as he is.
No, you're wrong about this. But that guy, the Bears like him. The coaching staff likes him.
That remains to be seen. DeAndre Swift is not great.
Okay, but just position wise, right? Like team structure wise. So you got 3 tight ends. Are you keeping all 3?
Oh yeah.
I mean, they're going to keep 3 tight ends. So then, like, you got 6 wide receivers. If you wanted a 7th, you got to get rid of the fullback, man. Like, so that's where it kind of comes down to. At some point, you have to just.
Who serves you more of a purpose?
I don't know.
Pettis or Kyrie Blazing Game?
No, it's a great question, Brandon, and
that's
up to the coaches.
Yeah, it depends on what Waldron. And you brought up tight ends.
Is trash. There's no the guy serves no purpose.
I don't know that's no. We don't need to talk about Dante Pettis.
But if we're talking about kick returners, there's a guy.
I guess. I mean, he could be the dependable guy back there. He's not going to break anything, but at least
I don't know if I'd say dependable.
Well, just dependable.
He could be the capable guy,
right? Secure the ball. That's all I really want out of that. Honestly, it's just to not, like you said in the chat, not fuck it up.
Guys, like I was saying, 2010 Chargers. It's one of the things I go back to and kind of like study all the time because to me it just astonishes me. The number 1 offense, the number 1 defense. That team went 9-7 and missed the playoffs. Why? 32nd special teams in the league. I mean, they were letting up punt returns, kick returns, everything. They botched special teams, and even a number 1 offense, number 1 defense couldn't overcome it. Now, I don't know if these new rules are going to make that a little bit different, but man, like we just can't be terrible at it. You know what I mean? Like you said, we just can't fuck it up.
Darius,
correct.
Darius, what do you want out of kick return?
Someone that could not necessarily be Devin Hester, but someone that we can depend on to get us good field position. And not only that either, but just
who do you like?
The thing is, you can get good field position just by them kicking the ball with these new rules. Like you start at the 30, you know what I'm saying? Like that's solid field position. That's why I'm saying, like, I just want somebody that's not going to muff the ball back there. I don't want Velus Jones back there.
I don't think that.
Who do you like
right now?
I mean, I don't like anyone. That was my whole point. I don't like any of their options right now.
I don't think that guy's on the team. Like, as much as I would love to root for Velus in this situation, I just cannot bring myself to do it.
No, and I mean, they tried him out at running back. We got
V-Dog saying, V-Dog just said, just stop it with Velus Jones.
Yeah, dude, he got a handoff and then just dropped it. He just dropped it in the backfield. I mean, he also got tripped by the grass running a play that could have been a big play. I don't like it. I mean, but at the same time, then he runs it to the edge and gets a touchdown because he's just faster than everybody else. So it's like I see why the Bears want to get him involved, but he's just not dependable enough.
I want to root for him, man. I would love for things to be different. But it's tough, man. He just, he'll do one good thing and turn around and just take 3 steps back, man.
Yeah. He shoots himself in the foot.
Darius, like, I'm going to send this your way because you're right. And I felt his leash is extremely short to the point where like he can't make another mistake, and there he goes. He goes off and muffs a punt again. It's like, man.
Yeah.
Now, isn't this? I wanted to ask you this. Isn't this kind of like? I love Ryan Poles, by the way. Like, I think he's a great GM.
Yeah,
I think
Ryan
even
Poles
in the
works
modern
great.
NFL, I think he's great. But if, like Brandon, like you said, I'm a realist too. I'm not going to pretend that he's 100% without fault here. Isn't one of the reoccurring problems here kind of keeping mistakes a little too long? Yeah, you look at Chase Claypool. I felt like he should have been cut a little bit sooner. You look at Nate Davis. You look at Velus Jones. Darius, what do you think?
It's been like that for this franchise for years. Like it's been like that for this franchise for years.
But under Poles, why, Darius? What do you think about
right under this regime though?
Yeah.
Well, with this regime. Guys like Nate Davis and Velus Jones, you're absolutely right. It is a such thing as keeping those guys too long because they're more of an issue than a solution.
Because he picked him and traded for him. It's a stubbornness. It is.
You know what's crazy, guys?
Like I said,
we didn't win one game. We didn't win one game with Chase Claypool.
Justin, I want to hear what you have to say.
Well, I mean, I literally had it in my notes for the game. Like I wrote it down. I was like, Velus muffs a kick. Why is this guy still here? And then in that same thread of notes, Velus gets to the edge and beats everyone in for the touchdown. I wonder if we're going to get this guy more opportunities. And then my next note, Velus trips over grass and falls down. Does this guy deserve opportunities? Like it's like this. It constantly is stacking up, man. You can't put him on the field for his positives if the negatives are going to outweigh it. That's how I feel. I think the negatives outweigh the positives when it comes to Velus.
So, Paulski, let me ask you this. Where do you think the Bears' special teams has to fall for them to be a playoff contending team?
I mean, I think it depends a lot more on their offense and their defensive production. But,
but you said
like
that led the league in those categories had bad special teams.
If we have the 20th ranked special teams, I think we can still work with that.
Yeah, if we have like a 12 to 15 offense and a 8 to 10 defense, yeah, like that can balance out for sure. I agree with that. I think it needs to, again, same as the offensive line.
So
middle
I'm gonna do this here now, guys. Well, we've got. Come on, chatters, join this with us. Darius, Paul, Dustin.
One of us.
Where do the offense, defense, and special teams rank in the NFL? End of this year.
I couldn't really hear.
Let me start with you, Justin.
Yeah, repeat that question, please. I didn't hear it either.
He's asking where
do the offense, special teams, defense rank at the end of this year? Dustin, I'll start with you.
Where do I think the offense, defense, and special teams will rank?
Yeah, where are the rankings by the end of the year?
Well, like I hate, you know what I'm saying, that over prognostications, but I'm hoping that we have a top 10 unit on each side.
There's no chance there is.
Now, I mean, offense and defense, I'm hoping that
Brandon, you just asked this question just so you can tell us we're wrong.
Even if we're at 10 on
no, there is. Tell me. Where do they finish? All three, though. I want to know all three.
And as far as special teams is concerned, like Paul said,
Darius, let's start. Where do you think the offense ranks at the end of the season? Where do you think they're?
I'll say 10.
Okay. What do you think the defense? 10 is. I think you're being a little.
Let's go around the board with the offense.
You're being a little modest. I think they finished earlier than 10. Where do you think they finish on defense?
I would say 10 too.
Okay, so I think the Bears
is based off the opponents.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, well, the schedule and everything. Where do you think they rank special teams?
What we know about the people that we're playing.
Where do you think they rank special teams? Because Richard Hightower is a really good coach.
And as far as
Richard Hightower is a really good coach on special teams.
Mm-hmm. As far as special teams, if we're good enough to, get in that.
And Tory Taylor was a 4th round draft pick, dude.
The top 15, hopefully.
Okay, so you're like 13, 12, somewhere around there.
I'm thinking more 14, 15.
Okay, I think the Bears rank top 10 in offense, and I think they rank at least 10th in defense. That's where I think, and I think special teams, I'm with you, they're probably somewhere 15 to 20.
Yeah.
So how many games did they win, Brandon?
10.
Yeah, I mean it's a loaded question. I got the Bears for 10 wins. That's what I've had them at since the schedule came out.
Justin, where do you think they rank? They rank offensively, defensively, and special teams.
Like I said, it's a loaded question. I would say, man, like if the offense is 13th or better,
10th.
I'm gonna
I
be
think 10th. I think the offense is 10th.
if you answered, you said that. I think if the offense is 13th or better, if they fall within that range, that 13 to 7 range even, then that's a pretty damn good start to a rookie quarterback's career. I think I really do think that. I mean, they got a lot of weapons. It could be easily top 10. I can get on board with that. Defensively, this could be a top 5 unit, guys. The defensive backfield is a top 5 defensive backfield in the NFL.
Pass rush concerns me, man.
The pass rush is concerning, but it's my biggest thing is if Booker turns into what I think he can, and the Bear and we don't know if the Bears are going to add another rotational piece for this defensive pass rush.
I hope so.
And if Gervon Dexter turns into what he can turn into, then that really changes things. And when you got a top 5 secondary and you're generating even a decent pass rush, you're going to stop a lot of passing games. And I mean, I don't. Special teams can be 15 to 20, and we'll be good. I mean, I don't really. Cairo Santos is a solid kicker. Tory Taylor seems to be God's gift to punting. I don't trust our kick returners. I said that. So if they can do decent enough, if our defense is top 5 and our offense is top 12, that's easily a 10-win season.
Paul, let's hear it.
Yeah, that's why I'm not predicting the 10-win season. And I know, Brandon, like you said earlier, I'm a realist too, man. And I want to be so happy. I want to be so hyped. But at the end of the day, I know that the NFL doesn't usually allow teams to leap forward a lot. And you take steps forward, right? So I still need to see it. I tend to lean on Vegas a lot. Vegas has this team at 8.5 wins. So for me, I'm looking at like a 9-win season, and I think that's a very reasonable thing. Now,
on Vegas? Can I ask you that question? Why do you lean on Vegas? Vegas is always wrong. Why do you lean on Vegas?
No, they're not always wrong. They make a lot of money by being right. Like last year they had them at 6.5. We got 7, man. So
where was Vegas on Houston last year?
Listen,
I think it was 4.5. I think it was
time to time they are off.
4.5.
It's not. 10. They're more consistently right.
Yes, they wouldn't be in business if they weren't.
I'm going to argue this. With rookie quarterbacks, Vegas is most often wrong.
Okay, sure. And you might be right, Brandon. Sure.
Well,
because it is a very big unknown. So, for me,
a lot of unknown
like, where does this team rank? I mean, dude, I see it as a middle of the pack, like 15 to 20 on offense. Like, if anything's going to save us, it's got to be this defense. But like you said, the pass rush is a concern.
Right,
and it was a huge concern last year until we got Montez Sweat. But if Montez Sweat gets hurt, what then?
If you think they're 15th to 20th on offense, then you think Caleb finishes with like 2,800 yards and
like 3,500 yards.
Okay. Brandon, can I just point out that you just picked the Bears offense to be a top 10 offense after going for an hour on how bad their offensive line is going to be?
Well, but there it is, Dustin. That's exactly my concern.
I believe in their quarterback.
Go ahead,
yes,
Bear.
but like that's the biggest way to implode the team,
offensive line. The Houston Texans offensive line last year was ranked 14th. What does that mean? What does that mean to you?
That means exactly what I said with the offensive line, middling. If they're middling, the Bears can.
Right, but that means C.J. Stroud overcame adversity, right?
C.J. Stroud also has Laramie Tunsil protecting his blind side, so that's a bit different.
Yeah, but C.J. Stroud also had Nico Collins as the number 1 receiver, so like we have Keenan Allen and DJ Moore. Like I don't know where you place. I don't know where you place Nico Collins in regards to DJ Allen or Keenan Allen and DJ Moore, but like. Is he better than both of them?
But like I was saying, Brandon, though, like I was saying earlier in the chat, like, okay, you got Keenan Allen, you got DJ Moore. Okay, so you need a play, you need a clutch play, third down, you roll out, you make a
How
miracle
was the
happen,
Texans
you avoid
running
a
game?
sack and you make a miracle happen, and you throw a 30, 40-yard pass to DJ Moore or Keenan Allen, this and that, and you put yourself in position to win a game or something, but then hold on, flag, offensive holding, 10-yard penalty. That must be one of the most deflating things in football. And that's what typically you build inside out.
Yeah,
and we
where
didn't
was
do
the
that.
Texans running game last year? Where'd they rank?
Dude, but like CJ Stroud's an outlier, man.
I mean, as of right now, he is for sure.
The Texans running game ranked bottom 20.
But
So
with
where
the
do you rank the Bears running game this year?
What does bottom 20 mean? What does that mean? What does
Like
bottom
26,
20 mean?
27, 28,
12 to 32, I would imagine.
With the year CJ had, they still only won 9 games, man. I mean, but
Yeah.
I think we won 7 last year. I refuse to believe that we're not 3 games better.
And Brandon, Devin Singletary got into that offense and changed that run game a lot towards the end of that season. I mean, it's neither here nor there. The Bears have better weapons than that Houston team did, that's for sure. But one thing Trax brought up the other night that we would be remiss if we didn't mention.
They were 22nd. The Texans running game was 22nd.
Okay, that's decent enough. But the NFC North is a much tougher division this year than the AFC South was last year. We cannot not mention that in terms of the competition that Caleb Williams in this offense is going to be going up against.
And you think?
Can I throw this one at you guys? Please. Cam Newton, his rookie year, threw for over 4,000 yards, rushed for 600 to 700, rushed for 600 to 700 yards on top of it. They had Jonathan Stewart, D'Angelo Hall, they had Greg Olsen, Jeremy Shockey, they had Steve Smith. They had a Luke Kuechly. They had a damn good team. How many wins did they get that year?
I think they won 5 games that year?
6.
And I think Cam Newton threw like 28 touchdowns.
You just said Greg Olsen, Jeremy Shockey. They were at the end of their.
Still weapons, man. Still weapons. That team was good.
Jeremy Shockey was not a weapon on that team. Paul.
Nah.
Okay, but
as much of a weapon as Mercedes Lewis
is. You could still see a good rookie season from Caleb and the Bears not win games. But Bearski's point was you could still see a solid rookie season from Caleb and the Bears not win games. That is a possibility that has shown. I'm not saying Paul, I just said I predicted them for 10 wins. Paul, I have since the schedule came out.
Paul, where do you rank?
That's the point he's making.
Where do you rank Cam Newton's weapons versus the Bears this year?
I mean, man,
Greg Olsen and Shockey, Jeremy Shockey. Where do you rank those guys to
Brandon
and DJ Moore?
I'll answer your question, but first I'm going to answer your question with a question, and then I'll give you my actual answer.
Okay.
My question to you is: do you remember the Eagles' dream team defense?
Oh God!
And the offense.
Do you remember that?
They
do you remember that?
Yeah. They did everything. They had a great
gel.
They won the offseason. Yeah.
They didn't gel. Like, dude, so like it's such a hard question to answer because we have a lot of new pieces, including
but based on what you saw, Bearski,
let me ask you this. Let me ask him
this. Brandon, let me ask him this question. Based on what you saw this past Saturday from that first team offense, Paul, what do you have a little more confidence in that offense going into the season than you did before that game?
Yeah.
Yeah. Good. I do too.
Paul,
yes.
Paul, let me ask you this. Where do you draft DJ Moore and Keenan Allen in fantasy?
Dude, this is why I reached out to you, man. I have not done fantasy in like 3 years now. It's a completely different mindset. It's a completely different mindset. So my honest answer is I don't know.
Those two players got 4 rounds.
Nico Collins goes before both of those guys. Nico Collins.
Yeah, numbers wise, right? But that's the thing, Dustin. Is like it's like that's the thing about fantasy versus real football. Like I don't care about the stats. I care about the situations. As long as DJ Moore comes through for me on third down. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yes,
Moore is a better fantasy
play,
player.
That doesn't count for more points in fantasy. Yes,
it's a results thing for me as well. Like, I'm not looking for Caleb to get out here and throw for 4,000 yards and all that stuff, 30 touchdowns. That's not what I'm necessarily praying for. I want help win, but I want them to have a good enough rookie season that produces wins.
And that doesn't destroy his confidence.
You know what else? One of the things.
Dustin, what amount of yards do you have Caleb Williams throwing?
Real quick, I want to say this because this is funny. Cliff Victoria says Bears are new and shiny. We are opening the present under the Christmas tree. Don't know how cool it is yet. A few more weeks. It could be N64 or it could be Dreamcast. We don't know yet. We don't
Real
know
quick,
yet.
Cliff, when I was a kid, I poked a hole through the present. I was sure it was an N64. It wound up being like a Space Jam blanket, and I was the most rotten, spoiled, fucking disappointed
I got
kid.
the N64.
I learned a lesson.
Man.
I learned a lesson that year, man.
Yeah.
My family was like, we're fucking poor. You got the blanket, kid.
How many yards did you have Caleb Williams finish with?
Caleb Williams is
3,500.
Caleb Williams is going to break the Bears passing record.
Yeah, the Bears passing record for rookie QB is
Bears passing record is
3,500. No, he's going to break the overall record.
3,500, I think, is realistic.
35. So we're not far off. I think he breaks Kramer's record. I think he hits 4,000. I think he does. Maybe just barely, but I think he hits it. I really do.
So you think Caleb Williams throws for 4,000 yards? So you clearly think two of those receivers are 1,000-yard receivers.
Yes. Right? I think DJ Moore and Keenan Allen are,
Have to be, right? So
I don't know if they have to be because I think Rome can step up too. But if the thing is, they got a gluttony of weapons.
No, to hit 4,000, they have to be, dude.
DeAndre Swift pulls in 800 yards receiving, and Cole Kmet pulls in 700 yards receiving. And then Rome Odunze pulls in 800 yards receiving. Then now you're looking at what's that? 2,400 yards right there. So then 1,000 yards from Keenan Allen is 34.
If you have 4,000,
there's ways to get it done with these weapons. I think
if you have 4,000 yards receiving, where do you place those two receivers in fantasy football?
I have them higher than their draft spots. That's for sure. You asked where they're going. Nico Collins is going before both of them.
No, he's not.
DJ Moore goes in the 5th to 6th round.
No, he's not. I did 10 mock drafts.
Keenan Allen's going in the 7th round.
DJ Moore is going before Nico Collins on every mock draft.
Then we're doing it on there's different platforms, but that's irrelevant, man. It's irrelevant to the conversation.
I mean, Puka Nacua got more yards last year than.
That's
why I can't do
1,500 yards receiving. Yeah.
Is Nico Collins a better receiver than DJ Moore?
No,
in some people's eyes,
maybe in fantasy. In
some people's eyes, I think they think he is. He's definitely got a better ADP.
Last year statistically. He wasn't.
No, I don't. He was. He was
for a couple weeks in a row. Justin Fields was the number one QB.
Nico Collins had 1,500 yards receiving last year, boss.
I don't think he did.
Yeah, he did.
Did you hear me, Brandon? For a couple weeks in a row, Justin Fields was the number one QB in fantasy football last year. That's why I can't do fantasy because that is a completely different mindset than real football. Those are two different things. Because it doesn't incorporate situation.
Correct.
Like so like I wanted to tell you guys one of the things
last year. He had 1,300 yards. He had 1,300 yards, and DJ Moore had 1,364. So he was not better than DJ Moore, and Keenan Allen probably better. Hold on.
He was in the playoffs too.
Hold on. Keenan Allen had 1,200 yards and played 13 games. Mm-hmm. Keenan Allen would have finished as the number one wide receiver in the NFL had he played.
So Brandon, we're not talking fantasy right now, boss.
Right? It's a different conversation.
We're talking
one
about
of the most
Bears
impressive things. One of the most impressive things I saw from the preseason performance. Right? Like if you guys were to ask me,
CJ Stroud comparison, who has better receivers?
Brandon. Let me just get this out there.
Paul, answer the question. Who has better receivers?
Oh, he was in the middle of making a point, Brandon.
The Bears.
The Bears have better receiving core than the Tech, but I've seen the Texans rated above them on
because on paper
sources.
It could be different, Dustin.
Yeah,
it could be different on paper, but that's not the thing. One of the most impressive things for me from this last preseason game, when somebody asked me, "Hey, what did Caleb do that really impressed you?" I said, "Started at the 3-yard line, and I don't care how it happened.
I thought
you moved that ball down the field.
Yeah,
it's situational." To me, that was crazy impressive. The stats are not going to tell you that. They're not.
I thought they were screwed when they muffed that when they fucked up that punt return and just let it bounce. I thought Caleb's second drive was screwed, and he really handled himself well. Yes,
CJ Stroud had a record-setting rookie year, right?
Okay.
Right? Didn't he? You did, right? He had a phenomenal receiving core, and I admit that. Tank Dell, Nico Collins. Who was C.J. Stroud's tight end?
Dalton Schultz.
Yep.
Dalton Schultz.
My answer
Dalton
would have been I
Schultz.
don't know.
And Dalton
Is he-
Schultz was a solid tight end last
Yeah,
year.
he ain't
Is he
terrible.
comparable?
That's
Is
not
Dalton
terrible.
Schultz comparable to the combination of Gerald Everett and Cole Kmet?
Not the
This is something I
combination.
wanted to touch on real quick, guys. Gerald Everett outsnapped Cole Kmet in that game. I find that very intriguing. Because when they ran with two tight end sets, Cole Kmet sat out.
Who caught
Gerald
the ball?
Everett and Mercedes Lewis were in there. So that was very interesting to me. I don't know what you guys think of that, but that's not what I expected.
I think that's going to be a
Who
week.
caught the ball?
Jordan Love threw for over 4,000 yards. Where were his 2,000-yard receivers?
Yeah, no, I mean, Jaden Reed was solid. Wicks was solid. Watson
His
was
best
solid.
receiver had 800 yards. His best receiver had 800 yards. They were shit in fantasy, but they were better than us.
Yeah, they were a platoon, sure.
Jaden Reed's actually a really good fantasy option, but
yeah, I like Jaden Reed a lot. I like that Packers receiver.
I don't compare the way I don't compare the Packers offense. I don't compare the Packers offense to anybody though.
You can't sit there and compare fantasy to real, though. Those are two completely different conversations.
It's not really making the point because, I mean, CJ, and you can't compare CJ Stroud's rookie season to Caleb Williams.
Yeah, but we can say this, but Dustin's in my fantasy league, and he's going to draft DJ Moore, Keenan Allen in the third round. That's my point.
I'm not going to be drafting DJ Moore.
Okay, I see your angle now. I see your angle now.
You're going to do it no matter what. The point is, you can say this, but you're still going to do it because
no, I'm not. But that's irrelevant. I think DJ Moore's in for a very good year, and I think Keenan Allen is in for a very good year.
I told you DJ Moore's bigger than Keenan Allen. DJ Moore is.
DJ Moore's the best receiver on this football team, Brandon. That's for sure. That's for
Brandon,
sure.
I learned a real good lesson one year. One year I drafted AJ Green and Julio Jones. They're rookie years. I go, no, both these guys are studs. I know it, man. They're both studs. And the rookie years in fantasy, they weren't.
No.
Not in fantasy.
There's some rookies this year that are going to be.
Let me introduce you to a narrative. You don't draft two rookies on a fantasy team ever.
Yeah, I know.
That's
why I stopped playing fantasy.
You want me to do a fantasy show for you? I'll do it for you. Yeah. And I'm not going to suggest anybody draft two rookies.
That's why I'm not going to do it. That's why I'm not going to do it.
I might take Malik Neighbors and Marvin Harrison Jr. guys because both of those guys are going to be studs. Those are guys. They have to be.
I'll take Brian Thomas Jr.
Yes, this year.
And Marvin Harrison. I'll take Brian Thomas and Marvin Harrison for sure.
Malik Neighbors is going to have a hell of a season. So is Marvin Harrison.
Hell no.
Well, listen,
Brian Thomas is
fantasy
Brian
football.
Thomas is beast.
Fantasy football is so situational. Like if Justin Fields starts, George Pickens is going to eat. Like that's what we're seeing.
And Justin Fields is going to be a solid play some weeks too.
But is that going to result in wins?
With Mike Tomlin, it might.
Maybe, but like it might be great in fantasy, it might be great on paper and this and that, but like for me, the conversation is always about real football and wins, and like so, it's tough to sit there and like compare like that because these situations are so different. So like, I don't know. I think we're at a point now where like we said, the offensive line is a concern, right? Like, sure, this team is probably the best situation I could think of for a number one overall pick to come into in the last 25 years.
The best offense I can think of for this Bears team that I've seen.
And so for me, it's like I'm kind of more worried about the growth and the progression of the quarterback and the health of the quarterback. And like I know a lot of people are getting stuck on playoffs and 10 plus wins and this and that. And I'm trying not to do that.
I think we could have both.
Darius, how do you feel? Darius, how do you feel about the health of the court?
You say, how do I feel about what?
About if Caleb Williams is going to stay healthy this year, basically.
Listen, man. I'm optimistic when it comes down to everybody on the team staying healthy. You know, I mean, because he could get hurt out of the pocket. You know what I mean? If that's the case, like
he can get hurt in practice.
Yeah, I don't want to sit around here and worry about him being hurt or no key player on this team being hurt. You know, I mean, but injuries are a part of the game. Some injuries you don't want to have, but it happens to everybody, man. It happens to every team. You know, any given year, you know, some bullshit could happen, man. But as far as the way the line played, week one of the preseason, the start the projected starters, week one against Buffalo, I give them a very satisfactory grade.
And Caleb Williams is really
And I
seems to be.
think I think we're going to grow. Like this thing needs a chance to kind of like maturate, man. Like we can't. Like I just think they played better than we thought they were. You know what I'm saying?
Given that they had a backup center and a backup
Yeah,
right guard in there, yes, I
yeah.
agree 100%.
You know,
For Connor Williams and all that.
It's interesting with these mobile quarterbacks. It's like, and so like I work with traffic. I work for the transportation department and whatnot. So like, okay, 2 cars going 60 miles an hour. As long as they're going the same direction, they sideswipe, it's fine. But like one of them going 0 miles an hour and the other one going 60 and slamming into it, people die, right? Yeah. So like when you're a quarterback and you're back in the pocket like a wall and you just get smacked, that's bad. But if you're on the move and you get hit, there's ways to be able to handle that impact and that force, and you can roll out of things. It's almost like you could be safer if you're on the move than if you're just back there standing there and taking an unexpected hit, right? So I'm not so worried about him getting hurt and rolling out. And like you said, you could always get hurt all the time. It's always a concern for anybody. But like to me, that offensive line does scare me a little bit because I think there's going to be some unexpected hits
Caleb has shown.
Paul, where do you have the?
But doesn't that happen to them all?
Yes, yes. Some more often than not, though. Darius. Yes.
Yeah. What do you have the Bears finishing record?
9 wins.
9 wins.
9 wins.
But guys, Caleb has shown. I mean, just on that scramble, he showed an ability to get what he could and get down. He was very smart about it. He was very diligent about. He was not going to take a hit. I don't put Caleb in the same category as a Jaden Daniels. Jaden Daniels is going to be running for touchdowns. That's what his game is going. A part of his game is going to be. I don't think Caleb wants to do that. He said it himself. He doesn't want to do that. So I think when it comes to him staying healthy, I think he's pretty smart about how he's going to take his hits and getting rid of that ball to where he's not going to put himself in those bad situations. He wants to throw the football. He does not want to be a running quarterback. Yeah, and like you said, Bears, that can make you a little safer, but at the same time, it exposes you more to hits.
Well, then again, too, right? Let's think about this one, right? Okay, say he drops back in the pocket, lineman gets pushed back. He during his follow through, he hits his hand on the helmet, breaks his finger. It's levels to being injured, man. But any one of those injuries can keep a guy out.
I got to step away for a quick second because I got to go grab a beer from the garage. But I just wanted to share a quick memory with you guys. I don't remember which year, but I remember it was week 2, and Jay Cutler scrambled outside the pocket, turned up field. Got past the line, got past the linebackers, and he's squaring off with the safety, and he dropped his shoulders and tried to power through the safety.
Pittsburgh.
And I'm sitting here. There you go. And I'm sitting here going nuts.
That's a 6.
I'm like, what the hell are you doing? And same thing. You run against the Chargers. You're winning a game, and you throw a pick 6, and you run it down.
Goes for the tackle, broke his thumb,
and injure your thumb, and the season's shot.
Yeah. Yep,
so it's all about minimizing those situations.
And I think Caleb is going to be really good at that. That's my opinion.
Because I mean Russell Wilson as an undersized mobile quarterback survived for 9 years straight by being smart.
Drew Brees too. He hurt himself, running the football, but after that big knee injury, he did a really good job of staying clean in the pocket and maneuvering in the pocket. I think Caleb has some similarities there.
Dustin and Paul have 9 wins for the Bears.
I said 10. I've said 10 since they came out.
I got 10 and a half.
I've said that 5 times on this show.
I got 10 on 11.
Okay, so Paul has 9. Dustin, you have 10. Darius, where are you?
I'm in between 10 and 11. You can mark me down for 11. I'll take 11.
That's very plausible. It is. I don't think I had the Bears beating the Lions once.
Really?
Really. Because I think that Lions team is going to be a juggernaut this year.
I don't think so.
They're going to be really tough.
I think they're going to take a step down.
I think the Packers.
No, they got better, bro.
I think the Packers might beat the Bears twice.
The Packers, I got a split.
I've been thinking about that all day.
Got them beating the Vikings twice.
All day today, I've been thinking about the Packers beating the Bears twice, like they did last year. I've been thinking about that all fucking day, dude. The Bears just can't seem to beat this team. I got
the Bears finishing better.
Nah, we split against the Pack, man. Hell no, ain't no more of the sweeps, man. That's over with.
Says what, Caleb?
Yeah, I mean, we can put it on Caleb or anybody else. Sweeps are over with the Pack, man.
I don't buy it.
The one thing that we can be sure of is it's a tough division. I think even the Vikings, who are good, are definitely taking a step back, are still better than people. They're still better than people.
We're gonna start McCarthy.
We'll see about that. I mean,
you think so?
Yeah, I do.
We'll see. Either way, no matter who their quarterback is, Kevin O'Connell is a very good offensive coach, and he gets a lot out of his quarterback position, no matter who's playing. And he's shown that.
And they have a hell of a D coordinator over there as
Brian
well.
Flores is a beast. So this division is really tough.
McCarthy threw 2 beautiful touchdowns, dude.
I saw.
I
still don't think J.J. McCarthy is going to be a good NFL quarterback.
What?
I still don't think J.J. McCarthy is going to be a good NFL quarterback.
Yeah, but we know that we know Darnold won't.
No. Darnold is average. He's not a very good player.
He's not. He's not.
He's a replacement level player at the quarterback.
He's below average.
Guys, I don't know. To me, it's about minimizing mistakes. J.J. McCarthy is still going to go through his ups and downs. The reason why they're going to start with Sam Darnold is because if they want to, if they think they have a good enough team, they're going to want to play more, just more consistent than anything else.
Yeah, stay in games. Yes. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah, but I disagree. I
think they've said straight up they're starting Darnold to start.
I don't believe they believe Darnold provides that. I don't believe that.
How about this, Brandon? If we had Tyson Bagent as our starter for the entire year, what's the Bears' record?
7 wins.
2-15.
Look at that difference. Darius said 7, you said 2. But in 4 games, he won us 2 last year.
7 wins.
I think 7 wins. I think 7 wins is right, Darius. I think you're right on.
You guys
on my rewatch, Tyson Bagent looked a lot better than people were giving him credit for. He really. I don't even like Bagent. I don't like him as a backup option for us. Honestly, I wish we had a better one.
Go fuck yourself.
But being thrown in the middle of the season is not very. Being thrown in the middle of a season is not very favorable, man.
Guys, let me ask you this: who would you rather the second Bears QB be?
Shit.
Who would you rather?
B-Dog says it right here, Brandon.
Well,
definitely already said O'Connell's going to start Darnold, bring JJ along slowly. That's what I've heard too. The Vikings
Who is the Bears' second string QB today?
Tyson Bagent.
It's Tyson Bagent.
I think Bagent.
Why?
I think Bagent is a starter, but
why?
I'll tell you why once Darius is done. I'll tell you
one thing about Brett Rippon. We know
he knows the system.
He understands this offense.
Yeah. Why would Bagent start? Why would guys? Because Bagent has been terrible through.
Bagent was better than you made it out to be in that game, man.
The Hall of Fame game.
No, he wasn't.
He danced in the pocket, made a great rainbow throw to Carlson that he dropped, man.
Here.
He made some great throws over
there you go again. There you go again with the stats. I don't want the stats. I don't want the numbers, man.
I do.
All I expect out of my quarterback. Let me finish. All I expect out of my backup quarterback at most is 4 games. I think if you're asking him anything more than 4 games, that's a lot to put on a plate for a backup quarterback. So out of 4 games, win me 2 of them. Tyson did that last year. Tyson did that. And if that's my expectation for him this year, if I only expect 4 starts out of him and I only want 2 wins out of that, I think he's already shown me that. And so I'll take that.
But you're giving me Hall of Fame game numbers, man.
Brett Rippon threw 3 touchdowns
in the Hall of Fame game.
What is that?
Yeah,
third
it's
year?
meaningless.
Remember,
Brandon, I think where you're getting,
those guys gonna be working for UPS, man.
100%, Darius, and I think that's the thing that people get confused with
Guys, did
preseason
you
a
know
lot.
this?
I think in preseason, it's not so much about what you do that's positive; it's about the mistakes you made. Okay, sure, you made a play, blah blah blah, whatever. It's against backups, but it's like, but if you messed something up against backups, how can we trust you in a real game against starters? I think it's more about watching the mistakes than watching.
The
any
one
of
mistake that Bagent made
touchdowns
that I
and
saw was he ran out of bounds and took a sack instead of throwing the ball away on this one
you know what
rollout. That was the one mistake. Other than that, Bagent played a clean game. He really did. Everybody was shitting on him, and I was ready to agree with him. But then I watched the game, and Bagent actually performed pretty well.
Do you know
what his
QBR? Do you know what his QBR was?
It's not good.
We know he had 2 wins in the regular season.
78. Do you know what the first player starter ever, Austin Reed, first game ever?
Austin Reed is good. I like Austin Reed. Do you know what
his QBR was versus 78? Do you know what his QBR was?
I'm going to guess 97.
96.
Again, it's against guys. When Austin Reed got in that game, he's playing against guys going to be working out at LA Fitness.
You're making my point. Darius, Brandon, you're making my point. It should be higher against unquality players.
No, but Bagent played against the second string, though.
Brandon, I'm not trying to gamble with my quarterback number 2. I want consistency.
But
I'm not trying
I want to just keep the ship.
We seen Bagent last season. We seen Bagent last season against legit NFL teams.
Brandon, you guys are all wrong.
Brandon, I'm not confident in Bagent. I'm just saying he played better in that game than what everyone said.
Wait, let's get the chat involved. Here's V-Dog. Tyson can't throw downfield.
Yes,
still a
no
major
doubt.
struggle.
Correct. Intermediate throws, though, he was on point in that game.
He was better at Justin Fields in the short game.
Not
in the long game, but in the short game, yeah.
Did Nathan Peterman come in for a throw last season?
Yes, because clearly the arm strength is
obvious. So should Tyson Bagent be the backup to any team in the NFL?
Yes, if you're only expecting him to keep you afloat. Like, dude, you're not expecting him to carry you through an entire season. You're not expecting
We're hoping he doesn't play at all.
Plays and all this stuff. Like, no, exactly. Dustin, you're right. We're hoping he doesn't play at all.
If he does, you have the wrong guy.
Brandon, we're on the same page. I've been saying this. I'm not a fan of Bagent. All I'm saying is that in that game, this game in particular, he played a lot better than what I was told.
But we saw what he did.
I don't care. You guys are basing Bagent off the preseason game you watched. I'm basing Bagent off the NFL season I watched last year.
No, he was not good last year. He was not good in those games in my mind. I was not a fan. I didn't want him to come in as our backup.
We watched him take chances against the Saints, and he threw 3 picks.
But he was a rookie, man.
An undrafted rookie.
Right.
Yeah.
A Division 2. A Division 2. Why did we watch
Justin? We watched Justin, a 3-year starter. We watched him make the bad mistakes too.
What's the solution, Brandon? Brandon, what do you propose as a solution? Brandon.
There you go. Who else do you got? You're right.
Brandon, what do you propose as a solution? What's an alternative? What's your solution?
Ripping.
Oh, come on. Anybody.
Oh.
Anybody.
No.
Ripping.
No, listen. If you wanted to make the case for bringing a veteran in here to be a QB2,
how many
I would understand
Division 2 quarterbacks played backup quarterback in the NFL?
Doesn't matter, dude.
But yeah, it don't matter about that, man.
I didn't even catch what you said, man. But I would say a Ryan Tannehill is a good option to me. I like the idea of Ryan Tannehill.
How many Division 2 quarterbacks were backups in the NFL?
You understand Brock Purdy got drafted as the last pick and was in a Super Bowl.
How many Boise State quarterbacks are backups in the NFL?
No, I asked you a question. How many Division 2 quarterbacks played backup quarterback in the NFL?
Just the one.
Brandon, would you still be starting Trey Lance? Would you still be starting Trey Lance? I think you'd still be starting.
I would take Trey Lance over Tyson Bagent any day.
You'd probably take him over Brock Purdy too.
No, probably not.
Yeah, no, but Brock Purdy, man, last pick of the draft. Who the hell is he? He's nobody, dude. It's not about that. It's about
not about that at all.
Are you guys sincerely stating that Tyson Bagent is the best option? The best option backup quarterback for the Bears?
No, in our situation, yeah.
I've said
Otherwise, they would have kept PJ Walker.
Brandon, I would go with Ryan Tannehill. I would bring him in and kick the tires on a guy like Ryan
I'd go
Tannehill.
with
I like the idea
That's
of
fair,
that.
Dustin. That's
You're not
fair.
proposing any solution. You're just talking about how bad he is and saying, well, Brett Ripien should go in front of him. But
Sure,
Brett
yeah,
Ripien
sure.
ain't good either. Brett Ripien ain't good either. I don't like our backup situation at all. I really don't. All I'm saying, though, is that Tyson Bagent performed better in that game than you gave him credit for. That's all I'm saying.
I want Ripien to stay on the team because he knows
the offense more than Bagent does.
But he can teach it in a polo.
Yeah.
Who knows the offense more?
Brandon.
He can teach it in a polo. He can teach it in a polo on the tablet.
Well, hold on. If Caleb Williams gets injured for this season,
God,
we're done. If he gets injured, we're done.
You want Tyson Bagent to start for the rest of the season?
I started this topic off by saying, if he is your starting quarterback for the entire season,
you're done.
How many wins do you have?
You're screwed.
Darius said 7. I said
7.
Guys,
I say 7 too.
Paul, you're diverting
the
question. Paul, you're diverting. You're diverting. I didn't ask you that. I asked you if Caleb Williams gets injured for the season, who do you want to run the offense for the rest of the season?
Our
Tyson Bagent.
Of our choices right now, I would choose Tyson Bagent over Bagent.
You're fucking retarded.
No. I mean, I might be, but not for this reason.
He can't even run a preseason offense. He can't even run a preseason offense. What's wrong
Brandon,
with you?
But it's
preseason doesn't matter, man.
If we don't have other options, so you're talking about Brett Ripien or Tyson Bagent, we're fucked either way. We're both retarded.
Yeah, but I've seen him run a regular season offense.
Better.
Yeah, like what are you talking about? Did you see Brett Ripien in his last actual NFL game for the Rams? He sucked balls.
Did you see Tyson Bagent? He threw 3 picks.
Yes, I watched those games. Brandon, me and you were texting back and forth. Brandon,
did you?
Brandon,
dude, Justin Fields is the fucking off-season MVP every year.
Listen, man, we were both texting back and forth last year about how much we did not like Tyson Bagent. So me and you are on the same page, boss. But what I'm saying is,
I'm on the opposite.
Yeah, we are. We are. I'm not a fan.
No, we're not. You need the guy who needs Nathan Peterman to throw a 50-yard pass. You want that guy to be your replacement.
No, I don't want it. I want I've just said I would like the Bears to bring in a
let me ask you
solidify that backup spot. I've been saying that for months.
All right, let me ask you guys this: Does Brett Ripien need another quarterback to throw a 50-yard pass?
I don't know.
Let me ask you this: How often are you throwing a 50-yard pass? Because I believe that was counting down the seconds right before halftime. It was a Hail Mary situation. So you're telling me because that guy's not good in a Hail Mary situation, you don't want him.
Brett Ripien was the quarterback in that game. Would they have brought Nathan Peterman in to throw the pass?
What do you know about Brett Ripien, Brandon? What do you know about
Would Brett Ripien have won us 2 out of 4 games?
50-yard pass.
Yeah, but would he have won us 2 out of 4 games?
Do it?
I know that.
You've seen him do it.
Does Brett Ripien have a 500 record?
I can find that information for you right now.
Listen,
I can find that information for you right now.
My second favorite team is the Patriots, right? I've been a big Patriots fan behind the Bears. Like, that's who I always looked up to because they play clean, they play well. Tom Brady made an entire career off of a short to mid game and being efficient and safe. Listen, the year they had Randy Moss, and he threw an explosive offense, guess what? They didn't win one.
He's correct.
Yeah, that was the one. Once he had Randy
so
Moss,
if we feel we have a good balanced team, if we feel we have a good defense, if we feel we have good playmakers, then guess what? Just get in the fucking ball, man. I don't need Trey Lance. I'll take Brock Purdy. Just fucking be efficient, man. Yep. Tyson Bagent can be efficient. He might not be able to throw a 50-yard pass, and that's obvious, which is why they put Nathan Peterman in, because that's not his thing. But like I said, there was definitely things about him that I saw that I liked better than I liked about Justin Fields.
Yeah.
There's definitely things I saw about him that I like that were way worse than Justin Fields. But you can't sit there and tell me, like, dude, that kid's comfortable in the position. I think he might be a starter for the Raiders next year. If Luke Getsy survives, I think Tyson Bagent might start on that team.
I'm going to sit here and tell you all Brett Rippon's going to be the second string quarterback of this team by the time the season starts.
You're not the only one saying that,
You
Brandon.
wanna
There's a
fucking
big
bet?
contingent of
You
people
wanna
out there
bet?
saying that.
You want to bet?
That's totally fine.
You wanna
Either
bet?
way, we're not going to be winning games
Anybody
with
wanna
either
bet?
one of those guys consistently
But
for a
our
season.
feelings are the same about Brett Rippon that we have for Tyson Bagent. We hope we don't see him.
There you go, Darius.
Instead of
There
doing
you go, Darius.
Right, but guys, you might. So who do you want to see if you
Ryan
might?
Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill. That's what I want to see.
Ryan Tannehill signed. I don't know why you keep saying that. He signed a
Tyson
contract.
Bagent.
I don't know why you keep saying that.
Ryan Tannehill signed with who?
Yes, he is. He's off the contract. I don't know what you keep saying.
heard it was
Brandon,
signed.
what are your expectations for a backup quarterback?
To throw 50+ yards.
One time? Okay.
It's not a lot to ask, dude. It's not a lot to
No,
ask.
stop it. You want your backup quarterback to go out there and throw bombs like you want Matt Flynn?
No,
You want a 6 touchdown game from Matt Flynn?
No, Paul, you know what? You want your quarterback to know the system.
Sure. So
Which
based
guy
off what I've seen,
which
based
guy
off what I've
knows
seen,
it?
Tyson Bagent has won us 2 out of 4
knows
games.
it more? Which guy do you think knows more?
The guy that's shown he's ran. Now, listen, even last year he was new to the offense, right?
What?
Like, dude,
It's
you know what knowing the system is? You know what knowing the
It's a
system is?
different offense.
It's funny because it's like for a lot of these guys, I'll use
Rick
Matt Nagy.
Rippon ran
I will
Sean
use Matt Nagy as an
McVay's
example.
offense.
Matt Nagy didn't figure out the system completely till he was in his mid to
Wait,
late
guys,
30s,
hold on.
and then
Brett-
he's able to coach the system. I know it real well.
Hold on,
But it's like, dude, if you can't go out there and do it, you can't go out there and do it.
Offense better, Paul. Who do you think
Doesn't
knows this
matter.
offense better?
It doesn't matter. dude.
No, it does. Who do you think knows
No,
this
it
offense
doesn't.
better?
I don't know. I'm not in the offensive rooms. Like I'm not in the
Who do you
quarterback
think
room.
knows Sean McVay's offense better? The guy who played for him or the guy who didn't?
So what are you saying? Like, what about Caleb Williams, man? This is new to him.
So Brett Ripien knows the system.
Well, no.
Caleb
Does
Williams?
Brett Ripien?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Does Ripien know the offense
Yes,
better than Williams?
Probably.
Oh well,
Yes.
then
Should
let's
he be
start him,
starting
Brandon.
over fucking Caleb Williams?
No.
That's the dumbest thing you guys have ever said in my life. Guys, if Drew Lock
Dude,
came
that's
to
the point
Bears,
you're making, though. That's the point you're making.
No, it's not.
It is.
If Drew Lock came to the Bears from Shane Waldron last year, if
Drew Lock would
came
be
here,
a much better
would
option.
I'll take Drew Lock. I'll take Drew Lock
Caleb
at QB2.
start? Would Caleb start over Drew Lock?
Yes.
Yes.
So what the fuck are you saying? What the fuck are you talking about?
What are you saying?
That's the
dude?
point
What
you're
are you
making.
saying? That's
dude.
why
You're
I
talking
asked
in
you.
circles.
What is your
You're talking in
expectation
circles.
of a backup quarterback?
To know the system.
But you said 50-yard throws.
Yeah.
Do you think
For
Tyson
me,
Bagent-
knows
it's to
the
keep
system,
this
and
up
he can
front.
know the
Guys,
system.
Do you want to
from
know
the
Tyson
sideline,
Bajan's?
bro.
Do you want to know Tyson Bajan's preseason
Yeah,
stats?
see, Ryan Tannehill is still a free agent, Brandon. I knew that. Thank
You
you.
wanna
You know what's
know
crazy?
Tyson-
Brandon, why do you look up those stats? You know what's crazy? I used to sit there and think like, man, Justin Fields would be so good on the 49ers.
But he's not interested
And
in
then
playing
and
ball.
then I heard Kyle Shanahan say if we had all 32 picks in the first round, I would choose 32 players before I pick Justin Fields.
Absolutely.
And that made me think like, oh my God, why? He can't throw short. Dude,
Do you
so
wanna hear-
a team full of playmakers, dude, just get him the ball. That's not what Justin Fields does in that type of
Tyson
system.
Tyson Bagent is throwing 7 for 11 with 63 yards.
Preseason?
Yep, 63 yards, 79 QB rating. What do you think? What do you think Brett Rippons is?
I don't think it matters.
And then again, you're talking about Brett Rippon playing against the third string.
Yeah, man.
No, Brett Rippon took the reps in the second string and
With the second string offense, but he wasn't playing with the second string defense, bro. They didn't keep their second string defense
In
out
that
there.
Hall of Fame game, man.
That Brett Rippon.
Guys.
Either way, Brandon, can we move on?
I'm
from
just
this
glad
topic?
we won.
Can we move on from this topic? Because
No.
either way, the backup quarterback is a weakness on this team, no matter which of those
yeah,
two people.
and if it's
we're
Tyson
moving
Bagent, it's Tyson Bagent shouldn't be in the NFL, dude. You're fucking
he
crazy.
should.
Tyson Bagent shouldn't be in the NFL.
But like this is a
He can't
stupid
throw
hill
a
to die on
50-yard
because
pass.
he's our backup quarterback. If you're
It
asking who's
doesn't
going to be
matter.
our backup
Justin,
quarterback, it's Tyson
Justin,
Bagent. That's who's
Justin.
going to be our backup quarterback. We don't
It's
control
Guys,
that.
such a relevant conversation too to be so
Tyson Bagent
Yeah.
won't be in the
one
NFL.
thing.
Like I mean, we're we should be talking about Caleb Williams and how phenomenal.
By the way, guys, if you want, I could upload the quick highlight video I have from the first game of Caleb Williams.
That'd be pretty sweet, Bearsky. I could use a break.
Tyson Bagent won't be in the NFL in 2 years from now. Do you want to bet money?
Nobody's arguing that, bro.
You
You're
want to bet
talking
money?
about what our options are, okay?
Brett Rippon will.
What our options are.
But
So
Brandon,
our
when he
options are Brett
came
Rippon or
in
Tyson
last year,
Bagent.
Brandon, when he came in last year, did you expect him to win 2 out of 4?
I expect him to do exactly what he did. He sucked.
I didn't expect him to win 2 out of 4, but it's a team game.
Yeah.
I don't think Tyson Bagent affected those games.
Did Deontay
Wait,
Foreman win the
defense.
game against the Raiders?
I mean, listen.
He had
Who was
3
the quarterback?
touchdowns rushing. Did
Who was the
Deontay
quarterback,
Foreman
man?
win the game? Did Deontay Foreman
We can't
with
move the
3 rushing
goalposts, though,
touchdowns?
Brandon.
Or the offensive line had a part in that too, Brandon.
Did
Because
Deontay
Deontay
Foreman
Foreman-
win the game
Foreman
against the Raiders?
Deontay Foreman was the running back when Justin was
shit
there
is
too.
off the rails.
And he doesn't get 3 touchdowns if Justin's in. I'll tell you that. I'll tell you that right now.
Well, because
He does
Justin
not
runs
get
the
the
ball. Holy shit! You guys are advocating for Tyson Bagent. I can't believe this.
No,
is happening.
that's not.
No,
that's
no,
not
man.
what's
Like I
happening.
said, it's
No,
very.
no,
You're
that's
creating
what's
a
happening.
divisive
That's what's happening.
conversation.
That's what's happening. That's
No,
what's
what
I
happening.
have
happened is you're losing your fucking mind.
Brandon,
on
I
our
do-
podcast right now.
I have an
That's what
opinion that's
It
different than
is.
yours.
This
I
is
know you can't
hilarious,
believe
man.
it. I know you can't believe it, but I have an opinion that's different than yours. Yes.
Yeah, and that's okay. That's the point
That's
of these
fine.
types of
Yeah.
conversations.
Guys,
It
That's why
Tyson-
people come
guys,
on.
not even matter.
Guys, Tyson Bagent should
But nobody
be
has to be fucking retarded, right? Like
He
we're
should be
we're
cut.
just here exchanging our opinions because we
Tyson
all have them.
Bagent should be cut by the time the season starts. He should be cut.
You think
Agree
so?
to disagree.
Cut.
Agree to disagree.
We got a lot of preseason left, man.
If you guys want, in the video clips under the branding section, first quarter preseason, 720p is the file name. If you want to play it, take a little break and just kind of look at some of the highlights from that
Phase
game.
Ninja Fan 2012.
Good
What's
quick
up, man? How you
video,
doing? Thanks
so.
for joining us. You got it ready, Bearsky?
Oh yeah, you want me to play it? You guys
Yeah,
ready?
go for it, please.
Oh,
Holding. Offense, number 59. Illegal contact. Defense, number 39. It's a 5-yard penalty.
All right. That was great, Bearsky. Thank you for that.
Thank you guys. Yeah.
What's up, man?
So like the things that stick out to me when I watch that is like minimizing mistakes, minimizing negative plays. I love the fact that when he was going out of bounds, even though there was a flag called for holding, he still tried to throw it away instead of taking a loss. You know what I mean? There's certain things like that, which, by the way, Brandon, if you want to criticize Tyson, like that's the one thing I saw that he did poorly. I believe he ran out of bounds for some negative yardage at one point. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Yeah.
Like I said, when it comes to preseason stuff, I'm not going to sit here and compare guys based on what they did. I'm more focused on based on what they messed up. Because if you're going to mess up versus, like you said, guys that are going to be, trying to sell cars in 2 weeks, then
Tyson Bagent has one of the lowest QB ratings in preseason football.
It's preseason.
But
It's just
Caleb.
It's the
Caleb
first
really
week.
climbed the pocket well, guys, on that scramble. He was still looking downfield before he took off. And then did you guys see how he described that play where he recognized the two deep safeties, saw that it was the man coverage and with the two deep safeties, and then realized it was time to take off. And then, like we were talking about earlier, when it was time for him to get down, he slid with that foot way up in the air to protect himself.
Hey guys,
he was being very protective.
He pulled the Mac Jones stuff.
Want to mention everyone's most delicious and fun sports dining experience. Head to River Street Tavern, located at 102 River Street in East Dundee. Open Tuesday through Sunday. It's your ticket to Chicago's biggest games and most delectable food. Guys, they do $2 burgers on, I believe it's Wednesdays or Tuesdays.
Yep. Taco Tuesdays and trivia, right?
$2 burgers on Wednesdays. Where are you going to get a $2 burger? Not going to get them McDonald's. Go check them out, guys. Kyle's going to bartend. He'll make you a drink. Go check out River Street Tavern, guys. Yeah, I don't like Caleb Williams.
I'll make you some drinks tonight, man.
I'm trying to get where Brandon's at.
Impressed me. He impressed the fuck out of me.
Listen, so like I always kind of go back on this too. Like I even stopped playing Madden altogether because I just hate just numbers and stats. You could put them any which way you want, but like let me ask you this: there's always unmeasurable.
No, that's not true.
Okay.
You can't put numbers and stats which way you want. No.
Yeah, sure you can, but yes, you can.
That's what stats are for.
So let me tell you this:
no,
there's unmeasurable. Brandon, there's unmeasurable statistics out there. You understand that, right?
Yeah, but
what was your question, Bearsky? What was your question?
My question is like, okay, when it comes to leadership, when it comes to locker room presence, when it comes to evaluating the other guys around you, who's better, Bagent or right or whatever, like those are things that also matter that just you can't put on paper, right? So for me as a guy that doesn't pay attention to fantasy, that like numbers are cute and all, but like I watch games. For me, those 2 out of 4 wins are the biggest.
Well, Paul, if I'm a receiver,
1, 2 out of 4 games.
If I'm a receiver, and you tell me Nathan Peterman has to come into the game to throw me a ball,
right? One ball.
Nathan Peterman has to come into the football game to throw me a 50-yard pass from a kid whose father is an arm wrestling champion.
Brandon,
am I gonna probably have some
Brandon,
doubt?
the number one play from the 2022 season was PJ Walker to DJ Moore, a 73-yard bomb to the end zone where DJ Moore caught it. Yes, it was. If you look at the top 10 plays,
based on what? PJ Walker's not the number 1 play from 2020.
No, I thought Justin Fields touchdown.
If you look back at top, okay, fine. Listen, that's up to debate. The video that I saw that listed the top 10 plays had this played at number 1 because of situation, because it was at the end of the game, and because it won them the game. That was the play that DJ Moore took his helmet off. And got a flag on, but it was a 73-yard bomb to the end zone. Brandon, if you're asking me who do I want in there to throw one pass over 50 yards, I would have kept PJ Walker over Tyson
Uncle
Bagent.
Ringo.
But that's not what I want. I want a guy to keep me afloat.
For 4 games.
I want a guy
over the mountains.
So like these guys are saying, man, this topic is really like a dead horse topic because the ideal situation is that we don't even have to see this guy.
Yeah, for sure. And Brandon's going to say, but if you do, then that's what this is. But again,
then we're arguing about peanuts. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Right. At that point in my mind, our season is kind of in the wash.
Right,
at that
exactly.
point.
So if you're analyzing like the backup position, he doesn't have to be very good, right? Because you don't want him to play, right? He just needs to know one thing, right? Paul, what does he need to know? What does the backup need to know?
How to throw a 50-yard bomb. Oh, no, wait. I'm
No,
sorry. Hold on.
no, not even
The
that.
offense.
He needs to know the offense.
Well,
Right?
Tyson Bagent's shown me that he's capable of winning 2 out of 4
How?
games
How?
because he did it last year.
Listen, man,
But this is
I don't
different
want to talk
offense.
about this no more.
This is a different offense.
Just let
So
this go.
how?
Me
Hey.
either, Dustin. And it was a brand new offense for him last year, too, Brandon.
Yeah,
But
for sure.
like Dustin said,
Let's kill this
there's
topic
so
and
many
move
better
on.
things to talk about here. Like, I'm even like I know Austin Booker's getting a lot of praise, but like
We talked about him earlier in the show.
yeah,
He
and
was
I know you
awesome.
guys did. He was awesome in preseason still. But like
Yes.
we're talking about a 5th round pick defensive end. Like, so to think that he you don't get many of those throughout the history of the NFL that are good. Now there's some guys that went undrafted, like Jared Allen, or I can point to that wound
Jared
up being
Allen was-
undrafted, that wound up having a great career. But like right now in the NFL, I think Max Crosby was a 4th round pick. Like they're these guys come few and far between when they're drafted that late. Typically, we're talking about 1st round talents being good defensive ends. So I still am very
well, Daniil Hunter,
cautious
Daniil Hunter
about.
was a late round pick too. He's
Okay,
a
that's
solid
fair.
pick,
Yeah, but
man.
Paul,
Sure.
what did you?
Yeah.
What,
So I mean, and Mark,
Paul,
remember Mark
hold
Anderson?
on.
He was a
Justin, hold
3rd
on.
round pick for the Bears.
Paul, I don't care where he was drafted. What do you think about what you watched? What did you watch? Did you watch the Bears game?
So yes, of course, and so like you can't choose your opponent. So based off the situation he was in, sure he succeeded. But I'm saying over the course of 17 games against top talent in the NFL, I still have a lot of doubts.
Oh, but that's okay.
But it was positive. But it was positive.
No,
The
that's
performance he
okay.
put out
But
there
there's
was
things that I saw.
positive.
Bersky, let
He
me tell
left you
you,
something to build on.
Bersky, let me tell you the things that I saw that stood out to me, and I mentioned it earlier, but I'll say it again. There was multiple plays where he chased down the ball from the opposite side of the field from his defensive stance. Though that type of stuff impresses me. That shows me he's got a motor. That shows me he doesn't quit on the play, and that shows me that he's physical enough to catch up with that play, right? And then when he dropped back into coverage, when there was a designed play for him to fake the pass rush, drop back into coverage, he dropped back into the deep middle in about 2 seconds. Those are things that, like, physically you can't teach those things. He's just got that. That's what excites me.
And those are things that don't show up on a stat sheet either.
No doubt. I mean,
you gotta see it.
No,
Yeah,
and
for
those
sure.
are the things that make you realize like this 5th round pick might be more than he is, right?
Maybe
like,
yes.
This guy might be worth more than a 5th round pick. He might have been a 4th round pick in this draft, right? Like,
I thought he was the steal at the defensive end position in this draft before the draft happened. I was saying that beforehand. Now Bersky's going to bet on the odds because that's what he's playing when he's talking about that, and I understand that. But I have a strong conviction that by the end of this season, Booker is going to be the starting defensive end opposite Montez Sweat.
Oh, I hope so. That would be great.
That's my
That is
conviction.
awesome.
That has been my conviction because I just think he has a skill set and a physical ability that nobody else on this team has, and that's going to stand out and that's going to win out.
I mean, because Darius, I'll shoot this one your way because like you're looking at guys like Yannick Ngakoue last year. Yannick Ngakoue, every year, he's put up sacks team to team to team, yet somehow he keeps going from team to team to team because there's obvious flaws in his game. And it comes to run stopping and this and that. So, like, maybe the opportunity here for Austin Booker is there to put up some sack numbers. But, like, overall as a player, are you confident that this kid can handle a 17-week season and still perform at a high level all throughout?
You guys there?
Him handling the season is not what I'm worried about. His production, into becoming a starter for this team will be a bit of a concern for me. Because I don't, if he's a specialist like a Mark Anderson, like a Yannick Ngakoue, great. But is that really sustainable?
Well,
because
that's certainly sustainable.
It wasn't sustainable. It wasn't sustainable for Mark Anderson.
Yeah, but
Mark Anderson got put into a starting role.
No, hold on.
But that's what he's saying. That's what I'm
Darius,
saying.
But Darius, he played the run really well in the preseason on Saturday.
Listen,
he stuffed the run 3 times.
I hope this guy is everything we want him to be. But just asking me the question and giving my answer, there is a bit of concern if he can keep up the production for the remainder of the year and earn a starting spot.
He stuffed the run, so he's
Brandon. My friend's cousin played really, really well and made it onto the Detroit Lions roster. And in 2 preseason games, he had 2 picks, one in week 3 and week 4, and he got cut, man. He did.
Well,
he
wasn't
didn't
drafted
make,
in the 5th round.
No, right. He was drafted
round.
really late, and he got cut because he had obvious flaws to his game.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's great. You shined and you put something on paper, but when you look at it, it's like, no, you messed
Austin Booker stuffed the run a lot.
Yeah, so there's a lot of positives there. Like I said, I'm still doubtful. However, this game took a lot of my doubt away. Because it's a very positive step forward for that game.
Yeah, for sure.
And
if you're talking about him being in a situational role to start out the season, that only kind of eases him into the NFL. That only kind of gives him more time to learn some counter moves and those things that he's got to develop, being as raw as he is, to where he can build on that and then put it all together. Hopefully,
if you guys actually watched the start of that game from start, did you guys watch the whole game? Did everybody watch the whole game?
Yeah,
I watched the whole game.
Put video on it too, man.
So Austin Booker played the run really well at the end of that game.
He definitely did. He played a good game all around. He played a good all-around game.
He dominated,
way better than I thought.
He dominated that game in the second half of the football game. He dominated that game. He had 3 run stuffs, and he had 3 sacks.
He had 2.5 sacks.
So let me ask you this, Brandon. Brandon, let me ask you this. How do you think Austin Booker fares being thrown in in week 1, 6 minutes into the first quarter?
Versus DeMarcus Walker? Versus DeMarcus Walker?
Just versus the Titans.
I'll take it any day. Fuck DeMarcus Walker.
Like I said, he's going to come along slow.
DeMarcus Walker
make an impact quickly.
DeMarcus Walker is ineffective completely and entirely. DeMarcus Walker provides no pass rush at all. None.
That's why I think we need to get one out of free agency. Or
DeMarcus Walker is
Darius, you're right. We're going to need to make a move there, man.
I don't want it to be Yannick Ngakoue. I don't want it to be that guy. I know that. And there's not much else out there, to be honest. So it's like
I wouldn't be mad at Yannick though. I wouldn't be mad at Yannick Ngakoue.
I would. I don't think
the situation with Washington last year was very unique. They had to get rid of Sweat due to financial reasons, not due to play on the field. And so situations like that.
I would rather Austin Booker be available than anybody they can sign.
Listen, yeah, and Brandon, I might agree with you there. I don't think there's somebody they could sign that could outweigh the potential that maybe Austin, especially after that first game, Austin Booker has made a case for himself for sure by playing that way. I hate this guy. I hate this guy, but he made a really good point today on my way to work. Mike Tannenbaum, the old GM for the Jets, he was on ESPN this morning. Like I said, I hate this guy, but he did make a very good point. He goes, when it comes to preseason, where a lot of people get caught up is they think that they can predict things from what they see in preseason. He's like, and you just can't. It doesn't work in the prediction aspect. Whatever you do in preseason oftentimes does not translate to the regular season. That's great. That's cute. Like I said, you're making a case for yourself for a roster spot, this and that. But more than anything else, this is about the back end of the roster.
Well, yeah, no, Paul,
Austin Booker is going to be a ball for this team.
Paul, I agree with you, but we're not just basing Austin Booker's preseason. That's not the only thing we're judging here, right?
What else is there?
DeMarcus Walker's actual season last year was fucking trash.
Yes.
Is it not?
We also have to throw in the fact that the Bears traded back into the draft to get Booker specifically, right? And that Booker had a lot of traits coming out of college that people look for.
One thing that you might not have watched that I watched thoroughly is last year when Montez Sweat was acquired, DeMarcus Walker still played for 2 more weeks before his injury. he didn't get better. DeMarcus Walker did not get better from the acquisition of Montez Sweat. That
Brandon,
says a
that's
lot
a
to
great
me
point.
about. That says a lot to me about DeMarcus Walker.
That's a great point.
His motor is low.
Because
doesn't
like I thought
from multiplier.
Sweat was going to come into a worse defensive line and struggle because of it. Instead, he elevated. Yeah, you're right. He elevated the guy.
He elevated everybody.
Marcus Walker should have benefited and didn't.
Let's
That's a red flag. That's a red
Let's
flag.
look at this question, Brennan. What are our thoughts on Matt Judon? Several teams have reached out to the Pats about his services per Jeremy Fowler. I was told Poles reached out to inquire about the situation.
I'd trade a 4th round pick for Matt Judon. Without a doubt.
Okay. I mean, I would kick the tires on it, but the problem with that, guys, and the problem with all these guys, you talk about Hassan Reddick out there right now, is that these guys want to get
he wants money.
Yeah, so does Judon. That's why he's sitting out of practice right now for the Patriots. They both want to get paid. So if you trade for one of those guys, then you're doing the same thing you did with Sweat, and you got to have a contract in place immediately. So, do you want to pay those guys? That's the question. Brandon's definitely drunk tonight. Yes, Stockton.
What is Judon's contract?
What it is right now, he's on his last year. That's why he's holding out. But he's gonna ask for $15 million a year, I would imagine.
Really? You think
12
so?
You guys remember Albert Hainsworth?
Yes, sir.
He got paid $100 million, right?
Yes, by the Washington Redskins. Yeah, when he got traded. Yeah,
and that was based off of the performance
he a free agent?
had up to that point. Now, once you paid him, what happened? So, listen, there's a lot.
That's my concern. I would rather
there's a lot that goes.
I would rather roll with what we have than trade.
Stockton says Walker. Stockton says Walker had some good weeks. Can you guys remind me of the good weeks?
As a rotational guy, sure.
He had 4.5 sacks, right? 4 sacks.
4.5 sacks over the season. What good weeks did he have?
What do you expect Austin Booker to have?
Are you expecting a 10-sack season from?
No, I don't expect. I think the Bears are in trouble, guys. And I said this when the show started. The trenches are weak. So, but
I just want to see pressure from the defense. I don't need sacks. I need quarterback pressure.
Brandon drunk tonight. That's a crap take. Please tell me.
No, is it? Is it though?
Stockton.
Brandon's definitely drunk tonight. Yes.
Stockton, what good week did he have? Tell me. What good week did Walker have? Tell me.
I mean, that's subjective.
No.
Let's talk about stats, though.
No, let's let him bring it in. What good week did Walker have?
No, that's not good pod to sit here and wait for him to respond.
He said, "Let me on."
Come on, man.
Let me on. What good week did Walker have?
I'll bounce out if he wants to take my place. That's cool.
I'm not the biggest fan of Walker. I want to see Booker step up. I would love to see Walker step up.
Can I ask you this? When Montez Sweat got
more
acquired,
pressure from that opposite side of Sweat. If Sweat's taking on that attention.
Dustin, when Sweat got acquired, did Walker do better?
The whole defense played better as a whole. I don't know that
Walker do better.
I don't know.
See, I'm more concerned with if Sweat gets hurt. Who's our number one defensive end?
Yeah.
Who did better?
Without him, it's tough.
But who played better when Sweat got acquired? There was one guy who played better. Who was it?
Yannick? No, Yannick got hurt. Yannick got hurt.
Gervon Dexter.
Yeah.
Gervon Dexter.
Yes, Gervon Dexter very much benefited.
Did you guys watch the Bears last year? Gervon Dexter got better when Sweat
Brandon, just come out and say when he got here, Gervon Dexter got better. Stop trying to fucking.
Well, you should know this.
Say it. That's your take. Give us your take. Let us give our takes. That's how the podcast works.
Okay.
You want to ask us a question that's actually answerable.
Okay, Dustin, give me your take. Who got better when Gervon Dexter when Montez Sweat got acquired? Who got better?
But listen, you were just talking about how Gervon Dexter looked in this preseason game. He did look better last year when Montez Sweat got here, and that's why we have high hopes for him going into this year. And one preseason game is not going to make make or break that, but one preseason game is not going to change my thoughts on what I think about Gervon Dexter.
You didn't answer my question.
No, yeah, Gervon Dexter did get better. Our defensive backfield got better as a whole because of the pressure on the quarterbody got better.
Yes, we started getting more turnovers again.
besides Dexter get better?
AC Adams says Justin Jones. He got a big old contract out of that.
Well, he's gone. So
Yes.
who else?
So
Who else?
this is the point. He made
Okay,
everybody.
listen. Did Walker get better?
He made I'm not a fan of Walker. I've said that multiple times. I don't like him as the starting option opposite Montez Sweat. That's why I have so much stock in Austin Booker. So
yeah,
Walker
I think that's a very uphill battle right there for Austin Booker because the expectations are so high.
Yeah, for sure. And it's an uphill battle for this defense too, because you have to have somebody that's going to capitalize on the attention that Montez Sweat is going to take up on that opposite side. And my hopes is that it's Gervon Dexter. My hopes are that. But I mean, on that opposite defensive end side, there's still a lot of question marks, you know. So yeah, my optimism is pushing for Austin Booker to be the person that takes
Walker played well. Can anybody bring the stats up of Walker over the last 6 weeks?
Yeah, Brandon. He also misspelled. I think that's Minnesota. So
Minnesota.
just put that in there too.
Anyone else starting to worry about Wright? Notorious says Darnell Wright. I don't know. I'm not worried. I think he's gonna have a solid year this year. I think he's gonna take a step forward for sure.
Like I said, we get guys back in there. It's gonna make him a lot better. Just like
he's gonna.
Minnesota.
Stockton is gonna double down on his spelling of Minnesota.
Minnesota.
It wasn't a mistake. Oh. It was Minnesota. It was by design right there. So
because they soft, dummy. Very good.
It's interesting because it's like I watch the quarterback play style, and Darius, I feel like you're being left out here. So once again, I'm going to throw this your way. One of the things I noticed when putting together highlights last year of the season, everything like that, is like every single game, Justin Fields was getting sacked between 3 to 5 times a game, right? And then we had Tyson Bagent going there. As a undrafted rookie free agent that is, and like Brandon says, is totally incapable of anything. But even in that situation, the sack numbers dropped drastically. You saw 5 sacks over 4.5 games instead of 3 to 5 a game. Yeah. So could the play style alone improve this offensive line enough to where it can make a big difference?
Yes.
To where how we feel about it at the end.
Bear, you came in kind of late.
Yeah, I did. Sorry.
Yeah, you cool. But we talked about this earlier.
I've been saying this for weeks.
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing. It's the thing to where the quarterback and the coordinator will have a say in how well this O-line plays as well. Not only on the 5 guys up front. The quarterback and the coordinator is a key to the success of this O-line.
Oh, here we go.
No, yeah, Darius, you're 100% right. And
no, not you, Darius. I'm on the chat.
Waldron is going to call plays. Okay. Hey, let's just talk Olympic basketball and get the fuck out of here, huh?
Hold on 1 second.
2.5 hours.
If you guys are going to go to basketball, I'm going to dip out. So
let me say this real quick.
Go ahead, Darius.
There was a difference in the play calling as well. Yes. When Bagent was in versus when Justin was in. It was certain things that Justin was not able to do that Bagent was. So that kind of played with those sack numbers as well. Bagent was a better. He had better. So he's able to observe the field a little better than Justin was. That's why.
Well, he was talking about in the last. I think you said the last 5 games or the last 4 games. Justin was in those games. So I mean, like our offensive line potentially, played better as a whole in that time frame.
Would you guys rather Austin Reed or Tyson Bagent be the backup?
I don't want to go back to this. I don't want to go back to it.
I like Austin Reed, Brendan. I think Austin Reed could be a solid practice squad player for this.
Oh yeah. He's in the
50-yard pass. Yep.
I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you one thing, and it'll be the last thing I say, and then I got to dip out. The one thing I know for sure is it takes real coaching staff, and it takes some balls to sit there and move on from like a 3rd overall pick like Trey Lance and start the last pick of the draft with Brock Purdy. What it tells me is they know what the fuck they're doing, and they're not about to hang on to their mistakes.
Right.
And what I liked about that whole situation with Pagent is that we paid PJ Walker to come in here as a backup. And even though we paid him $3 million, we cut him
Guaranteed. Yep.
and kept Tyson Bagent,
Even
which
though
what that
he
tells
just-
me
even though
is that
PJ
there's
Walker
some
just
evaluation process going on that they feel confident about.
Even though
And-
even though Walker just snapped in the preseason yesterday, we know
Man,
Walker-
Super Bowls aren't
Walker
won in the
started for-
preseason, though, man. They're
And
not.
Walker started for Cleveland last year in their biggest win of the season against the 49ers. I mean, yeah, he
Give me
played
Jake Browning then. Give me Jake Browning. Didn't he throw for like 4 300-yard games? When's
for
the
the
last time we had
Bengals.
that
Yes,
here?
sir. Yeah, no, that'd be a great backup to have.
Yeah,
I mean,
backup, sure. Yeah, for sure.
yeah,
Tyson Bagent is not a good quarterback, guys. I'm sorry
Brandon,
to
you
bust
could
this
come on
whole-
my show and we will sit there and argue
I'm
that
sorry
with
to
you.
bust your nuts, all of you. He's not a good quarterback. He's
Tyson
not.
Bagent is not a good
He's-
quarterback.
he's
He's a
not.
good
I
backup.
I
He's a
agree
good
with
No,
you.
he's not.
He is
He's
not a
not a
good
good
NFL
backup.
quarterback. He is
No,
not
he's
a good
not.
forward
Guys,
of
I
football.
appreciate you guys letting me
Thank
on.
you,
I
Bearsky.
appreciate you guys playing the video and everything. Love this channel. Love the conversations. And yeah, I'm gonna dip out though. So have a good night,
Well,
guys.
let me
And
know.
Appreciate
Paul,
you,
let me
man.
know.
Have a good night, man.
Paul, let me know when the fantasy thing starts.
for sure, Brand. For sure, yeah. I'll message you and I'll be in touch. But yeah, guys. Like I said, good show. And like I said, I don't want to drag it out any longer. I know you guys are tired. I've only been on a half hour. You guys have been on 2.5 hours. Big difference there. So I'll talk all night, but man, like, yeah, I'm gonna leave you guys to it. So, hey, I might wind up back on then. So we'll see.
Have a good night.
Thank you guys so much. Appreciate it.
Nice, man.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, Paul.
Do you guys want to close this out? But I mean, I don't know if everybody in the chat's going to be down with it, but that USA basketball game on Saturday, just touch on that a little bit. That was amazing, man. Steph Curry went bananas.
It was, but it was a little bit too close for my liking.
It made me like it more, man.
I mean, of course, we love close games, but you know, we're supposed to be the dominant factor in basketball. Like, you know, yeah, the world is caught up a little bit, but we ain't been just standing still. You know what I mean?
For sure, but
with the level of talent we had out there on the floor, that game shouldn't have been that close.
You're looking at the talent, like you said, the talent level around the world improving. That's what made these Olympics so great for basketball. Was like, it seems like you got the best all around amount of teams in it. So and USA was tested, man. But like, there's something to be said for like in that Serbia game, coming back from being down 17 and winning that game by 4. And there's something to be said about the way they performed, even though France kept giving them everything they had. You know, they kept it within a decent amount. It got down to like 6 towards the end.
They don't.
But I mean,
they don't practice till like 2 months before the.
That's the other. You know, these other teams are playing together for a lot longer.
Years.
You know that.
Yeah,
So,
chemistry wise, there.
For years. Years, literally years.
Yeah, I give you that.
Practicing for years, and the NBA team got put together 2 weeks before the actual Olympics started. Like,
and how amazing is it, guys, that LeBron James is doing what he's doing at 40 years old? You know, putting up a triple double in these Olympics, and the way he performed against Serbia, and USA really locked down that game when they went to the pick and pop with LeBron and Steph Curry. That's when Steph Curry started getting the switch on that 3-point line and knocked down 5 threes at the end of that game to just put it out of reach, man. That was amazing. Steph, you know, we had a conversation about this going in a text chat the other day, but I mean, like, Steph Curry, did he solidify himself as a top 10 player to you, Darius?
No.
In history?
No.
I think so, man.
He need another title for me.
I think so.
4 isn't enough?
No.
I think,
you know, I was saying he's probably somewhere from 10 to 12. It's tough when you start actually listing out these names. I
would give him top 15. I would give him top 15.
That's kind of where I was at.
But not top 10.
Do you list names?
My top 10 is cemented. So.
I'm sorry, Brandon?
Do you list names that you feel you have to list?
Well, we're going Jordan. We're going LeBron. I'm going Bill Russell.
No, I'm going Kobe over LeBron, but yeah, whatever.
Okay, but we're going to get there. But no, Kobe is not over LeBron. I'm sorry, just not an all-time in terms of. I mean, that's you can once you start breaking down the stats and the efficiency ratings and all that, then
Sure.
you really gotta.
Actually, Larry Bird is second.
If it's my preference, I'm gonna put Allen Iverson up there. But I mean,
I put Larry Bird second to Michael Jordan. Larry Bird.
Okay. All right, but let's just get the list out, and then we'll see if where Steph Curry falls, who we would put Steph Curry over, because not in any particular order. I'm just going to list them off. I'm not. This isn't a list that I've made. That it's Jordan, LeBron, Russell, Bird, Magic. Right? We got those 5 are going to be in our top 10 somewhere. Correct, Darius? Kareem, and we're going to go with Kareem, right?
Yeah.
And then, right.
Shaq.
I mean, I don't know. Are we putting Shaq up there?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's tough.
Have you put Kobe?
Tory says LeBron's garbage. We get it, man.
You still haven't put Kobe on your list.
Huh?
You still haven't put Kobe on your list.
Kobe is going to be there. Tim Duncan is going to be there.
Absolutely.
Right now, that's 8 guys. We haven't mentioned Kevin Durant. Do you put Kevin Durant over Steph Curry?
No.
You don't put Kevin Durant over Steph Curry?
No.
Kevin Durant is one of the best scorers of all time in basketball. Okay, so I got Isaiah Thomas for you. Are we putting Isaiah Thomas over Steph Curry?
No.
No.
No? Okay,
Magic,
so then right.
Magic is over Steph Curry.
We already got Magic, yes. We got 8 right now. Magic is in that. So
you got to put Chamberlain in there.
Chamberlain, that's number 9.
Chamberlain has to go in there.
What about KG? What about KG?
No.
Tim Duncan? No, KG is not.
No. Tim Duncan's in there. So right now we got 9. So then Shaq?
Yeah.
That's 10 right there. So those 10 are all over Steph Curry to you guys?
Yeah.
I don't know. Your list was weird.
I'm just going. I don't have it in some specific order.
In no specific order.
Take it easy, Mass. Thank you, bud.
LeBron's not in my top 5.
Okay, then we can't actually have this conversation, guys. Like LeBron.
I mean, listen.
No, you got to be like kind of. Bill Russell is a guy that people need to put in their top 5, right?
Not necessarily. He's not in my top 5.
He won 11 championships. He was the ultimate team player.
It was only 6 teams in the league.
Okay, so
LeBron's not in your top 5.
And he played with 11. He played with 11 Hall of Famers.
LeBron has 4 championships.
But okay, this is how
leading scorer.
LeBron had
Olympic gold.
LeBron had to go run to get these championships. He has to go run and make up teams. He had to go to Miami to get his first one. He had 2 collapses in the finals.
That's true.
That no one talks about. He has two major collapses in the finals. Now, he played great finals against the Warriors, but he was physically the most physically imposing player in that series. And they played a style of defense where they let him run amok and decided not to let the other guys beat them.
JoJo says Oscar Robinson. I
mean, you can put Oscar now. I wouldn't I don't like to knock the old guys too tough, but as far as top 5,
we're putting Bob Cousy in there.
My top 5 is submitted. I got Magic, I got Jordan, no particular order. Magic, Jordan, Bird, Kareem, and Duncan.
And who was the last one, Darius?
Duncan. Tim Duncan.
Steph Curry's a better shooter than Jordan.
He's a better shooter, but he's not a better player.
Steph Curry's the best shooter of all time.
Yeah.
He's in NBA history.
He's better shooter than
so he should probably be like top 7.
Nah.
In the league ever.
No, what people tend to forget, and y'all just dismissed Isaiah Thomas. I can't just dismiss Isaiah Thomas like that. That Pistons team was a force. He was the leader of that team, and he was a great defender. And he was the first guy to really bring awesome handles to the league and use them in a way that he did. I mean, he set the tone for a guy like Chris Paul in my mind. He created that template. So, but people forget that the NBA wasn't always played the way it is right now with Steph Curry jacking up 700 threes a season.
Correct.
Well,
I think Isaiah's a top 20 player.
Larry Bird was like
when threes didn't count. Larry Bird played in the NBA when threes didn't count, guys. So we have to keep that in mind.
People don't know that Larry Bird was like John Stockton, like
Hmm?
the outrageous assist. Like the passes that Larry Bird had would be equivalent to like
Well,
there's no player today that will even exist. Like
you're talking
honestly,
about a complete all-around
Steve
player.
Nash.
Yeah.
No.
Like
LeBron
Steve
James
Nash.
is very similar. LeBron James
Larry
is very
Bird.
similar. to
Larry
Bird.
Bird did Steve Nash type stuff.
Yeah, but LeBron James is the most similar player to Larry Bird that's in the NBA right now. He has
Nah.
been. And now you got Doncic. Now you got
Luka
Doncic.
Doncic, and the Joker.
But up until Luka, it was
The
LeBron.
Joker.
No, I mean that's tough. I guess he's a center. It's a little different. But I mean, so then I guess in you guys' mind, Curry is the top 10 player of all time. He cemented that with his Olympic performance, and I mean, obviously he.
I don't count Olympic performance because I think the USA team was the best team out there, and I don't understand why people so surprised and so excited that we won. I came into this whole Olympics thinking that they should have been gave us the gold. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but then that's what makes it fun that you actually play it. And then this France team has a guy like Ubaselli that's just dunking on LeBron.
Yeah,
that happens. And
yeah,
then
it happens.
do you put you mentioned Joker and JoJo's bringing up Joker. Do you put Joker over Steph Curry? He's the most efficient basketball player in NBA history by metric stats.
I think he's one of the greatest offensive players the NBA has ever seen.
I mean, in terms of efficiency rating, in terms of player efficiency rating, yeah, like
just rebounding, assists, any offensive stat. I think Joker is one of the greatest offensive weapons the NBA has ever seen.
No doubt. He can run point from the center position, which is kind of unheard
and he's a three-level scorer.
I think Luka's better than Joker.
Luka's a hell of a player. Luka's a hell of a player.
I mean, he is, but
I think Luka's better than Joker.
Joker has a title.
I think Luka.
Yeah, you're talking about the preference at that point. Because if you're talking about actual accolades and stats, Joker has Luka beat right now.
I think Luka will beat the Joker for years to come.
I mean, that's up for debate. I love that. Yeah. I was on that Dallas team all season. You know that. So.
Yeah, I love Luka Doncic. I love the way he plays the game, but at some point it has to equate to more wins and championships.
Luka through his first 6 years has almost not doubled, but singled, I should say. Luka's statistics through 6 years is better than LeBron by a long shot.
Yep.
By a long shot.
Yep, you're correct.
By a long shot.
You're absolutely correct.
Same position.
Now the key to that, Brandon, is longevity, because LeBron James came in the league at 18 and he's now 40 years old. So that's the key to that for Luka to come close.
It's really not. You base the first 6 years off the first 6 years. It's not.
No. I'm talking about when his career is over. Nobody judges someone's career off their first 6 years unless their career ends after 6 years.
Right now, Luka has been a better player than LeBron over 6
years. But I'm not debating that. What I am telling you though is that he can't go down as better than LeBron if he doesn't finish in that same way.
And you have to win, man.
Yeah, you got to win a championship.
I think Luka's the best player. I think
not one, multiples.
Luka's the best player in the NBA. That's what I think.
Luka ain't going to be in anybody's top 15 of all time right now.
Not yet.
He has a career.
I don't give a shit about where he finishes in people's. He's the best player in the NBA today. I don't care.
For sure, but there's been a lot of players who were the best player in the NBA today, and then they fell off. Like that happened. So
Derrick Rose was the best player in somebody's NBA today.
It's just that we're talking.
Derrick Rose should still finish somewhere up the top.
So what are we talking about? What are we talking about? Luka has a long career ahead of him. He is a hell of a player, and I love him to death. Honestly, he is the closest thing to Bird in the league right now. I agree with all that. All I'm saying is that for him to cement his place in history, he's got to maintain.
He's the closest thing to LeBron in the league. That's what people don't get.
Yes,
because
LeBron
still plays basketball. People don't get it. Luka is the closest thing to LeBron in the NBA. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it.
Okay. Well, anyways, the Olympics The Olympics I thought were fun. Darius, I understand where you're coming from. Like
Mm-hmm.
you expected them to kind of dominate and run through. I thought it made for a lot more suspense and a lot more fun for that game to be close. I just really wanted to touch on it because I thought it was phenomenal what LeBron did. I thought
It
it was
made it
phenomenal.
exciting, for sure.
I thought it was phenomenal what Steph Curry did. And I thought Devin Booker was the unsung hero of that team, really holding things together, hitting shots when it was important, and picking up guys full court. Like there was a lot of guys that stepped up on this team. You know, Anthony Davis was another one that stood out to me in terms of how he played in those games.
I don't like the fact Tatum didn't play much.
Tatum's going to be running that team in 4 years, I think. But right now,
I don't think he goes back.
No, he's going. That's a debatable thing. I mean, he's not going to really have a choice, man. I mean, he'll have a choice, but like if he wants to, he's a guy who cares. Like he measures himself to guys like Kobe. He's going to go back because he wants to cement himself.
I think Anthony Edwards is going to run that team in 4 years.
Anthony Edwards will be up there too, you know. But Tatum will be that old dog, like how Kevin Durant was this year. You know, Tatum's going to be that guy that's going to have to be the leader of that team. There's not really anybody else who's going to have the combination of championship experience.
You know who played really well, but not late, was Bam Adebayo, babe.
Yeah,
Adebayo, yeah, Bam.
He crushed that shit, dude. He finished weak. They benched him like late, but early in that tournament, he was hitting threes like nobody's business. And
he made an impact in that championship.
He's the perfect. His attributes are perfect for the Olympic Games.
Same with Anthony Davis. Yeah, those two were very good.
Anthony, dude, if Anthony Davis could just be that fucking guy like in the NBA and not be injured all the time, like that.
Well, last year he had a very healthy year, and that was huge to see because he played very well.
The Lakers are like sworn every year if that guy could just be that fucking guy. You know what I mean? Like
as long as they don't have to play Denver,
he's never that guy.
For sure. But he played well against Denver last year. I just thought he stood out with his offensive rebounding and his block shots in these medal games. Man, he really made an impact that wasn't as easy to notice as LeBron, right? Wasn't as easy to notice as Steph.
Stockton says Luka's soft without Kyrie.
Says Stockton, it might be time for bed, Stockton.
No, yeah, Luka was pretty hard with Jalen Brunson too. Like I mean, he's been dominating since he came in the league. I mean, and he got himself in shape. I mean, like I said, I'm not making a case against Luka. I just want to see him win. I just want to see him win one, and I want to see him extend his career and maintain these stats. So
because it matters. Winning matters. People want to take that part away from it, but we can't call you we can't list you amongst the greats if you do not win.
And that's a great that's a great way to end this, ain't it?
I don't know if I agree with that though.
What do you mean?
Well, I guess not.
I think Derrick Rose was a top 3 guard that ever played.
No. Derrick Rose is going to be the only MVP to never make the Hall of Fame.
I think if Derrick Rose made Kyrie Irving look like a bitch, like Derrick Rose is one of the greatest ball handling guards that ever played in the NBA. His injuries don't dictate who he was as a player. Like he was still one of the greatest that ever played basketball. Nobody could defend Derrick Rose. If Derrick Rose stayed healthy, he wins the championship.
Derrick Rose was phenomenal.
Nobody beats Derrick Rose if he stays healthy. Like Derrick Rose is the best player in the NBA if he stays healthy. There's no question about that.
There's a question about it because he wasn't the best player in the NBA when he was healthy. He won an MVP. He won an MVP, but LeBron was the best player in the NBA.
22, bro. Yeah.
Yes.
Where does his career go from 22 if he's not injured?
Yeah. I mean, but that we can say that about a lot of guys, man.
Have you guys ever seen the Derrick Rose versus the Cavaliers, the LeBron Kyrie Cavaliers?
Yep.
Like the highlights.
I've watched the games. Yeah.
They had no way of defending him.
No, he used to split double teams and run down the lane like a runaway train.
He would beat the fuck out of those guys, and they would yell at each other. You remember that? You remember LeBron and Kyrie would like yell at each other, like get mad, like
But
you were
ultimately,
supposed to defend them. Like,
at the end of
Kyrie
those
wasn't on
series,
that team, Brandon.
At the end of those
you want me to
series,
send you a video, Dustin?
Kyrie wasn't on
ended
that
up on
team when
top.
LeBron was on there with Derrick Rose.
Yes, he was.
I'm going to send you a video.
Kyrie was on there
Yes,
because
he
they
was.
went to the finals. They
Yes,
went
he was.
to the finals.
In 2012, when Derrick Rose got injured, Kyrie wasn't even in the league.
I'm going to send you a video.
No, he was. Kyrie was on the got drafted to the Cavs after LeBron went to the Heat. Are you referring to when Rose came back from his injury? Because he didn't have that same explosiveness then.
I'm referring to when Derrick Rose made Kyrie look like a bitch.
I mean, yeah, Kyrie came to the Cavs after LeBron left for Miami. So I'm just trying to line up those.
I just sent it to you on Facebook.
Thank you, bud.
The video is literally entitled. Hold on, let me see. The video is titled.
Listen, man, Derrick Rose was a hell of a player. We know that, and he could have been one of the greats potentially if he stayed healthy, for sure. That's not really
The video is entitled "Rose Cooks Kyrie."
For sure. Kyrie, in Stockton saying it right here, Kyrie, in terms of all time, is better than Rose. Kyrie's won a championship. Kyrie went to another finals with a different team.
I don't know if he's a better. He's got a better, he's got better accolades. I don't know if he's a better player.
Well, I mean, what are you judging it off? You know, are you judging it off of the accolades, or are you judging it off of that just them at their prime for their one best season? Because,
well, I would say Robert Griffin was a better player than Justin.
I would take Derrick Rose at his prime.
You know what I mean?
I would take Derrick Rose at his prime over Kyrie at his prime.
Yeah, me too.
I would say, but Kyrie is a better player all time for sure than Derrick Rose is because of
I would say
circumstances.
I would say Robert Griffin at his prime was better than Joe Flacco, who won a Super Bowl, right? What does that mean? You know what I mean?
I don't know about that. But either way, I get what you're saying.
Robert Griffin was like a league MVP. I don't know.
Did Darius try to jump back on, or he just say goodnight?
He just left.
All right. Probably about time for us to pack it in too, man, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. 2 hours and 46 minutes. We've gone. We've talked a lot of stuff. I mean, I'm glad we get to touch on some basketball. But the Bears looked good this past week, Brandon. We were in agreement on that, right? Overall, there were some positive things to take away from that Bears game.
Caleb looks great, man.
I've never seen a quarterback look that good in a Bears preseason game, man. I can say that confidently and firmly. So that's something to be excited about. You know, the sky doesn't have to fall on the offensive line. Hopefully it doesn't. There's Darius.
Yeah. Darius, what's your final view over Caleb Williams this week?
As far as his play this last game or the upcoming game?
This last game.
As far as a grade, I give him
what'd you give him?
I give him an A. You know,
yes, sir.
I give him an A. I mean, solid performance for your debut. You know, let's build on it though, because I think he left a lot on the field, man. I think
but for real, did he show you that he's different from the average quarterback?
Oh yeah,
average Bears quarterback.
Yeah,
Did you see something that says to you this guy's different?
No, I saw better than what we've had in this organization in a while. Yeah. I saw that he's better than what we've had the last couple of years in this organization. And I'm not just talking about Justin. People think
Trubisky too, for sure.
Yeah, people think that I take free shots at Justin when I don't. I just tell the truth, you know.
No, it's Justin. Yeah. Justin has an ability that a lot of quarterbacks don't have, which is great. But Caleb has something
The
that
ability you need to
you
win.
rather see out of your
Yeah.
quarterback, right?
Yeah, the abilities that you need to win a football game, to win a championship, those things,
Yeah.
you know. This,
Justin had things that Caleb will never have. There's no
Yeah.
doubt about that. But Caleb has something that no quarterback will ever have, right?
Well, Justin won't.
Right.
yeah, I don't know about no, but
And I don't know that I don't know that some of the passes I watched Caleb Williams throw, I don't know if anybody in the NFL besides maybe Mahomes has. Like, he throws arm angles that you just don't see, right?
I just
Like,
I just appreciate the processing, man, and understanding what you're looking at and getting the ball out.
his pass to Kmet on the run where he threw across his chest.
Mm-hmm.
That's just not it's not a very natural pass. And,
Yeah,
and
that's not a pass that you ask a guy to do either. That
right,
has to
and when
be
the average
instinctive.
quarterback throws that pass, he loses a lot of velocity, right? Because
Yeah.
he's thrown across the body.
when an average quarterback throws that pass, it's an interception. Because did you see Caleb did lose the velocity on it? Did you see where that pass ended up? It was behind Kmet instead of leading him out. Kmet had to reach back for it.
Got it.
Yeah. So I mean, if that goes any farther, that's going into the defender's hands, you know. So, but again, Caleb was great, man, and I'm fucking stoked. I was super excited to watch him play. I was glued to it. But some of those plays, guys, this year are gonna go the opposite way. They're not all gonna work for him every time. So let's make sure we understand that.
Something we didn't talk about tonight that I think should be mentioned is I do think Caleb Williams is going to look to Cole Kmet a lot.
Yeah.
Okay, but again, Gerald Everett outsnapped Kmet. That was weird to me, man. That was weird to me. That concerns me. I think Kmet is a better player than Everett. I want to see Kmet out there with Caleb. I'm down to agree with you, but there's something. Everett has played with Waldron in 2 different places.
Yeah. I'm not going
to comes here now in his 3rd different place and outsnaps the incumbent starter at tight end.
I'm not going to look too deep into that though.
Those are the things you actually can take out of preseason.
Honestly, man,
I'll still draft Kmet in fantasy league all day.
I'm looking forward to Hard Knocks this week.
Hell yeah.
And I'm looking forward to the game on NFL Network this week.
No, yeah, it's going to be another fun week, man. What's great about this is that it pushes out so much content.
Will they play Cincinnati?
Like, we didn't even talk about Hard Knocks, guys. Hard Knocks was last week. Yeah, they play Cincinnati. In Chicago, yeah. But, I mean, we didn't even touch on the Hard Knocks stuff because we had so much content just out of the one preseason game.
Yeah.
Like, it's just going to get better, you know, for us and for the people in the chat and everybody who watches and participates with us, and we appreciate everybody for that so much. Hope you liked and subscribed and shared with a friend. And I know we got a little crazy tonight, but it happens. It happens sometimes. So
I love it,
everybody. Hopefully everybody enjoyed it, was entertained, and have fun with it. Brandon, you have fun tonight?
Yeah, man. I always like after the first preseason game. I think a lot of stuff more than people think has come into sight for the Bears' future. And I think people are gonna. I love the Bears, guys. I do. I love the optimism. I do. I love the ability to see the positive, but I'm always going to be the guy that kind of brings you home.
But
also,
that, man.
You drove us around the block about 100 times before you brought us home. You know, it's okay to it's okay to also be excited about what we saw, because there is some stuff to be excited about. You know.
Yeah.
No, absolutely. Caleb Williams was great. You know, the receiving core is going to be what it is. There's no doubt about it. I don't doubt anything that Keenan Allen and DJ Moore are going to do. Cole Kmet is a player I find underrated. And the Bears defense is great in the secondary.
Just for fantasy, Brandon, stay away from Cole Kmet, man. I'm telling you.
I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that.
Hey, fellas, we're one step closer to week 1, baby.
Yeah, Sweat's going to do his thing, but I'm just going to – all Bears fans now, just be prepared when week 1 starts. The trenches are not going to go the way you want it.
Well, they might against Tennessee, man. We'll see. Tennessee's got
some. It may be some changes. It may be some changes happen before then, man. We just got to stay tuned, man, and stay ready.
that Tennessee game is very winnable. I'm looking forward to that. But let's get through Cincinnati first this week,
Yeah.
right? Let's get through this Hard Knocks
Stockton, much
excursion.
love, brother. Much love. Stockton, much love. Guys, let's give a shout out to the guys in the chat. Stockton, as always, love you being here, man.
No doubt, no doubt.
Thanks,
Cliff
man.
was great.
You brought
And
us conversation.
Yep.
Bears
Jojo
keep
jumped in late.
Paul,
Bears
Paul.
Yep.
Cliff, always, dude. Seriously. Cliff is a lifer, man. Jojo.
He couldn't stick with us this late, though, man. He's gone.
Yeah.
Jojo, you're the man. Notorious TBG.
I'm right behind him.
Aunt Moss, notorious TBG. I love the name. Aunt Moss, as always, thanks for being with us. All these guys, man. Day in and day night, man. These guys are always with us.
Yeah, shout out to everybody, man. Shout out to Brandon. Shout out to
the track. Yeah.
Shout out to the whole Chicago Sports Podcast family, man. You guys
We're coming back. We're coming back on Wednesday. We'll be back on Thursday. Darius will be on there. We'll be back on Friday, and then we'll be back again next Monday, guys.
Yes, indeed.
Thanks to all of our sponsors: Bridges, River Street, Serendipity Ice Cream, TC's World of Wonders, Elite Icons, Framing and Memorabilia. All you guys that help us put together our shows with your sponsorships. We appreciate it greatly.
Most importantly, you guys in the chat, man.
Great show, guys. Good night,
Thank you,
man.
Darius.
I gotta let you guys go, man.
All right, we're out. Guys, bear down.
Have a good one. Bear down,
Have a great
man.
night.
Bear down.
Get some sleep.
Much love.